And here we are. Yep. Not bad. Hey everyone. Yes, I am live. I am aware of that. Thank you for telling me right now. What do you mean about time? Oh, God. Hello, everybody. So, welcome aboard. And we are now streaming live from the capital of Shortwave of the world. I hope. So, welcome, everybody. This is, my name is Joe, and this is the live Shortwave radio show. We are here every Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Or 4 p.m. Eastern Time anyways, because it's always 4 p.m. No, it's true, I stay the UTC one. So that means, wow, there's a spider web on the camera. Okay. Anyways, no, it's true, we change in the winter because we stay at UTC all the time at 2000 hours UTC. So we are live every Fridays, 2000 hours UTC, and of course we talk about radio. We have fun with radio. And we just, talk about whatever comes to mind. Sometimes we go into other areas, different places where we have no idea. We're talking about other things. And then we come back into the radio stuff. It's part of what this is. Cheers. No, it's not beer. It's vodka and vodka, cranberry juice, and 7-Up. So it's like vodka, cranberry juice, and 7-Up. So that I don't get drunk on the show. Although some of you might want that. So nice to have everybody here, and hope that you enjoy the show today. Of course, we're here to have fun and just entertain. And we'll tune the bands. We'll do all sorts of little things. And for those that wonder, I'm wearing my CKUT 90.3 FM t-shirt. That's the red t-shirt I'm wearing right now. So it's this weekend that I'll be part of the show also. So welcome aboard, everybody. There's a nice chat room with really fantastic people that are here to help out, answer questions. You've got questions, why not, just send questions in. And I know a lot of you are not in the chat room. When we look at, the number of people watching versus the number of people live on the chat room, you see that there's quite a few people that are not there. So hopefully you enjoy. And you know what? You can join me at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com today. I'll be monitoring that email today on my phone. So if you want to kind of say hello and you're not in the chat, it'd be fun if you just drop a little email. You don't have to be very long. It can just say, hey, this is Frank from wherever. And that's it. Of course, let us know where you are. It's fun to know where around the world you're watching. And we'll be giving the email a few times today and monitoring it to see who's on. And there's a very nice message, by the way, that is going to be, I'll be reading a message from one of the viewers of the videos on the channel, and that is very, very nice, and that I kept just to read it. And hopefully I did not remove it from the official Shortwave channel. Rob Rodriguez, right here from comments he has about last week when we talked about the AM band and the AM stereo stuff and all of that. He's got a nice little email that he sent me because he enjoyed the show and he was working at CJED here in Montreal, so he's got a little input on that also. That's nice. I'm going to be reading that a little later. So official shortwaveradio@gmail.com if you want to say hi and you're not in the chat room anywhere, because that's pretty much the only places that I monitor, chat room and the email. So hello everybody. Richard Cook, nice to have you on board, the first one to arrive. Mick H, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to see you on board. Matambale, nice to have you on board from not very far from WWV headquarters. What else do we have? We have Calvin. Nice to have you on board. Elton Byington, nice to have you here from K3JWA in Baltimore. Jason Stafford, hey, nice to have you here. We have J.D. Williamson, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to see you here, as usual. NL13851, nice to have you on board. From the Netherlands, Charles Williams, nice to have you here. MDK2, nice to have you on board from sunny Denver, Colorado. And his call sign is KE0SFC or WA0080SWL. We have, let me just go down here. Mark Clark, nice to have you here from Central Pennsylvania. Max Headstrong, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool to see everybody here. VA2XMX, Petro, nice to have you here. Been a while. Shortwave Spud, SW Spud, nice to have you here. Listening to S06 number station, 6769 kilohertz, upper sideband. Woohoo. Cool, J.D. Williamson, nowhere tonight. That is nice. You'll be able to just enjoy shortwave. Ah, man. Drum rolling. PLF Radio in France, nice to have you here. Bonjour, bienvenue, mon ami. We have, let me just continue down the list here. I'm going a little faster this time around. So, what else do we have? Francisco Quintero from Brazil, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Brett Wayne from Salamanca, New York. KC2NXP, nice to have you on board. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here. W8SWL in Northern Michigan. David Arden, he's alive. He's alive. Nice to have you here. No call sign. It's just, oh, nice call sign, Donald. Sorry. Yeah, W8SWL. It jumps in your face because it's like shortwave listener. So it's pretty safe to say that Donald started as a shortwave listener before becoming a ham. Brett Lammers, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. MDK2 says Drunk Jill is record-setting show length. Well, I got a full bottle of vodka, so it could be a drunk show at the end. I don't think so. I will go easy on the vodka. And tomorrow I want to enjoy. This is the weekend that I love around here. There's the Ukrainian festival. So tomorrow I'll be enjoying Ukrainian food and Ukrainian beer after the show tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course they have these really nice little shows with Ukrainian dances and music and artists. It's kind of fun. Joe Pecky, nice to have you here. Enjoying a tall Bloody Mary in his porch in Virginia. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Cheers, my friend. Bullfrog 89, KD2CXU, checking in from Albany, New York. Hope you're well. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Always nice to... Hey, Terry from England. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to have everybody here. PA1WX. Nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. Commando 602. Radio channel last night came in at 5 over 9 for a good few hours. I actually was on my balcony outside in the backyard and tuning into, was listening to Shortwave with my Texan VL680 portable and reading reading the spectrum monitor on my tablet and watching other live shows. There were a few of the fans that I follow that follow me also that were live yesterday. I was watching that also, and man, the signals were. The signal from WHRI with Voice of Vietnam was one of the strongest I had seen in ages. It was in fact so strong that it's the first time that I actually see this. It was actually slightly overloading my Texan PL680. So when I was on voice on Radio Romania French, which is on 7375, I could sometimes hear in the background what's happening on WHRI 7315 because it was blasting, which is amazing. I had an amazing reception of Voice of Vietnam at 0100 No, 0-100, sorry. I listened to Slovakia at 0-30 on 7780. I listened to, what was I? At 0-100, I was listening to Radio Romania French. I heard, of course, I listened to Radio Havana Cuba. They had some really nice Cuban music last night as I was doing some work for today's YouTube videos. I turned on the icon here and was listening to Cuba on 6,000 kilohertz. Propagation was really amazing last night, so hopefully tonight is not too bad. I haven't checked the K or A indices or anything, the solar flux, before checking in here, but hopefully going to be nice. But it was really, really cool. I had a lot of fun listening to it. It all started with Voice of Turkey on 9830 at 2200. I had a lot of fun listening yesterday. I heard RAE Argentina French service via WRMI, also in 7780. That was nice. That was very nice to hear. Hera Cottrell, nice to have you here. He's got the white t-shirt with the CKUT logo. Yeah, it is nice, actually. It is pretty nice. Shortwave Spud. How can I pass an antenna through a wall? Well, you got to drill a hole, I guess. Pretty much the only thing you'll be able to do. Big enough to have a coax go through. What the hell's happening? It's all okay. There's probably an accident. The traffic is now on this street, so you hear the cars that are just fed up waiting. West of Korea in Korean strong on 12015, says Richard. Matam Valley is receiving 11530. Sounds like it might be Voice of Wealth. 11530 is, let me just check it out here if I hear it. I was listening to Cuba on, whoops, that's not what I wanted. It's not very strong, but there's something on 11530 here too. Let me just check it out here. I'll bring up the EIBI schedules. And 11530. Let's check that out. 11530 at this time is, oh, there's nothing on 11. Yeah, there's something. Okay. Yeah, Dengue Walat is probably, let's see here. We're at 20. It can be Sound of Hope. That's impossible. I don't think we are hearing Taiwan's Sound of Hope. It's 2000. And the only thing at 2000, oh, it's, yeah, that's it. Okay, it's from the French transmitter side. It's clandestine station Dengue Walat. In what looks like Kurdish, probably, to the Middle East. That's what we have. 11530 is probably Dengue Walat. It's from France. I hear it a little bit here. It's not very strong, but it's there. I can hear it in the noise. So it's clandestine, and it's transmitting from France, actually. 11530. So that's pretty Dengue Walat. That's probably what it is. Dengue Walat. MDK2 says, I got things set up for the IC 7100 today. It's so strange scanning for stations without a waterfall now. Yeah, it is. I tune in my ICOM from time to time, and I'm like, wow, this is so weird. I don't have a visual of where the signals are, and I just have to go around and tune. It does feel weird when you use the SDR for a while. Jack N9IIF, nice to have you here. Sean Fahey, nice to have you on board. Jerry DX, nice to have you here. And thanks for sending me the emails. I forgot to make the video, but you guys should know that there's the Hurricane WatchNet that is live. So if there are some hurricane activity, you will have the Hurricane WatchNet to listen to. And when they are live, well, they are on, they do mention the frequencies that they use, which is 14, what is it, 14.325, I think. Let me just check it out here. Are they live? Do they have the frequencies? I will need to see the frequencies somewhere here. So anyways, when the net is live, They have 7268 lower sideband in the evening, and they've got 14325, I believe, when they are live. So check it out for the emergency information. You can get more information at hwn.org, hotelwhiskeynovember.org, which is the Hurricane WatchNet. They are, of course, active every time there's something happening. I was looking at the map here. We see that there's Florence. But there's a few things happening. Gordon, that is now a disturbance in inland. So there's a few things happening according to the map that I see here. So it's time, I mean, September, October are some of the strongest in the months where there's the most tropical storms and hurricanes. So if you want to check that out, once again, hwn.org, the Hurricane WatchNet. 7268 lower sideband, 14325 upper sideband. They are active. They're not active all the time. When you go to that website, they actually tell you when it's active, when something's happening. So check it out. It's time. It's time to hear those emergency comms from whatever is happening. And you get all sorts of reports of stations, checking in and giving out the information about the type of weather they have. There's a lot of amateur radios in the affected Caribbean islands that will often check in. Even boats will check in sometimes. Some people that have ham gear on small boats, and will just check in and say, "Hey, man, this is my condition where I am." It's like another aspect of tropical season, and it's like being there. For somebody like me here in Montreal, Canada. Hurricanes don't exist in Montreal, Canada, but we do get remnants. For example, I remember one distinct storm about, 10 years ago, where it actually impacted, I think it was Louisiana, and it moved up really, really fast across the United States. So when it got here, we did have like 100 kilometer per hour winds and even a little more. It was a storm. Even though it's not hurricane strength. So, it can affect us, but it's not, of course, the same thing as you guys. But, we had a few storms hurricanes that moved up the East Coast or through the United States, and that once they were here over southern Quebec, gave us a lot of winds and a lot of rain. So there are some effects off of that. Obviously not the same as you guys down south, but it's still fun to listen to, kind of be there. What's cool with radio when we look at that is also be there. It's the impression that even though you're out, you're far away from whatever is happening, listening to a hurricane net, listening to some emergency communications, it gives you the idea, or it gives you the feel of being there, actually. So it's one of the cool things to do with shortwave radio also, and have all of that, those reports coming in and checking out. It's pretty interesting, and it's a really, really cool aspect of our radio listening hobby. Dan Walsh, nice to have you on board from cloudy New York City. Here it's sunny and it's perfect weather. It's 20. Well, I need to change the batteries in my outdoor thingy, but it's about 23 degrees Celsius, which is what, 72 Fahrenheit, something like that. 73 Fahrenheit. Perfect. For me, that's perfect. Perfect. We had so much heat this summer. I don't want to have heat anymore. We're okay like this. So happy Friday, Dan. Thanks for checking in. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you on board. W85107 SWL from Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. Yeah, rest in peace, Burt Reynolds. I remember mostly from Smokey and the Bandit. That's where I pretty much saw Burt Reynolds. Rock Ristorante, nice to have you on board, my friend from Sweden. Pretty cool. Elections on Sunday. Unfortunately, there is no shortwave listening party. We've got local Quebec elections coming on October the 1st. And it's been 2 weeks now that they've been giving us all that shit that they want to talk about. I just can't anymore. I look at that and I'm like, man, I am fed up with those, election things. It's just annoying more than anything else. We're at some point, I think, now that we look at that and you're like, come on, man. Stop giving us bullshit and just let's talk about the real things, please. So, Risto, SM0SBT from Sweden. Nice to have you people from all over the world. Daxpower74, nice to have you on board. Cheers from Germany. Hey, Mr. G, nice to have you on board. Good evening. Zachary Antle, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Syrian Wello, nice to have you here from Syria. Says every Friday at 11 p.m. I open the YouTube app on my mobile and I see a nice red dot on the inbox that tells me Gilles is live. Thanks for for checking it in. Wow, this is so weird. I see the counter of the number of people watching on the upper right corner, and it jumps from 80 to 115 to 85 to 107 to. It's so weird. It doesn't kind of go in a orderly fashion. It's like just jumping around. I don't know what's happening. Here the stream looks good, so I hope everything's good for everybody. Commando 602 is from Arizona. Nice to have you here. Andy Coley, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to have everybody here. Rit Coco, nice to have you here. From Spain, nice to have you on board. And David Arden says it's a toasty 34 Celsius in humid Atlanta. Too warm for me. I want to have cold weather now, please. T.O., nice to have you on board. Always nice to have you here. And I am very well, my friend. It's been an okay week. It's been an okay week. There have been a few things. There have been a few things bothering me this week. One of them is my I'm very annoyed at Patreon right now. Just to give you guys an idea. So for those that give me donations through Patreon, the money is frozen. I checked to see if the donations were in, I think it was September 2nd, and they're all in, but it's frozen, and it says that some illegal activity has been detected on the account. It was like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm starting to get fed up because it's the second time they do this in a year. And plus the fact that, they take their fee, and there's the fee to send to PayPal, and it's driving me nuts. I'm starting to get really, really annoyed at Patreon, honestly. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? It's live shows and it's videos, and what the hell are you talking about illegal activity? Yeah, I'm doing, pirate stations on YouTube? You don't like it? I don't know. So anyways, I'm a little annoyed at Patreon right now. Crooked Ninja, nice to have you here. William Helms, nice to have you on board from Florida. And yeah, well, Smoking the Bandit and all of that, that was the height of CB radio, actually. That was CB radio at its most popular, honestly. That was amazing. Mark Cope checking in from Dallas. Nice to have you here. Vianney Arsenault, bonjour, bienvenue. Toujours un plaisir. From Gaspésie area in the east part of Quebec. Nice to have you on board. The K2 says, man, I remember CB Mania. I wanted one so bad, but the best I could get out of my parents was a cheap pair of Radio Shack talkies. I was actually fortunate for one thing with the CB craze, is that my dad actually had purchased a mobile 40-channel CB around 1982, and that's before I had my 40-channel Navajo base station. And it was, I don't remember the brand. It was an unknown brand. It was one of those cheap CBs from I don't know where, like a flea market or something, and it had a weird name on it. But anyways, it was 40-channel CB. And I remember my dad purchased, and a friend of ours were supposed to install it in the car, and it never happened. And I remember one day, because I had at that time, of course, a pair of, in '82, I had one of those Radio Shack TRC walkie-talkies. Not a pair, only one. Because I had to pay it with my own money. And, you know, when you're 14 years old, you don't have any money. So basically, I had some, you know, probably like Christmas gift money from my uncles and so on. And I remember I took that money, and I remember I went to Radio Shack, and I bought one TRC. I don't remember which model, the number what it was, but it was one of those 3 channels, 1 watt talkies, the black ones, the ones that I kind of like I showed the other day. They look like the ones that I have here, and I enjoyed that a lot. And you know what was really cool is that I would go to the park at the corner of the street where I lived, and I would be, because at first I didn't have the crystals for the 2 other channels, so I was stuck on channel 14. It's the only channel I had. And if you guys remember, the solar activity was really high back then, and you were hearing skip all the time. So I was hearing these Americans, you know, south of the United States, coming in all the time with their heavy Texas and whatever accent they had, and I remember it, like that was like all the time, and it was really, really annoying me because of it was basically stopping me from, you know, communicating with whatever or whoever. And but I would go to the park at least a couple of times a week, and I would go to the park after school with the talkie, and I would call and ask if somebody's there, just for the fun of it. And I was surprised to see so many people with walkie-talkies at that era. It was the time. I would say at 1 out of every 4 times that I went to the park, I would have somebody respond to me. And I met other kids, because I was like, okay, well, I'm at that park. Where are you guys? And you know, there's that scary side of CB and not really knowing to who you're talking about. So every time you would ask him, where are you? People were like, no, I'm not saying, you know. And basically, I met tons of kids and a few adults. I met a few guys that were like had CBs in the car, and that they kind of, you know, obviously I do understand that, you know, today I just look back and I'm like, yeah, okay. Adults in their cars were coming over and seeing, you know, my walkie-talkie was obviously a wrong thing that I probably should not have done, because you never know with all the crazies out there. But I did it anyway, because that's the kind of guy I am. And I did so many of these crazy things when I was young that's like, you know, I look at it today, I'm like, well, I'm not sure I'd do the same thing today. You know, you never know who you're going to meet. But anyways, you know, I was innocent. At that time, for me, people were all good or whatever. And you know, somebody would have had a CB must be a good person or something. I don't know. But anyways, nothing ever happened to me. So, you know, it was okay. I'd not be here to talk about it if something had happened to me, of course. But anyways, I met tons of people like that. And when my dad had that CB, it was left on the shelf. I had a 13.8 volt power supply that had that cigarette plug on it back then. And I thought, okay, all I need is an antenna. So I actually rigged up wires, simple wires as an antenna with a piece of coax in the CB. And I didn't really know anything about antennas back then, so I just like took the coax, plugged it in, put about 20 feet of wire on each, you know, one on the braid on the insulation and on the metal braid inside, and one on the center connector. I just spread them out 20 feet each side. I actually, my mom was totally going crazy, because I had actually taped the wires on the on the ceiling of the living room with 20 feet on each side, and which really looked ugly, of course. And I remember I just fired up. I called one of my friends that had a shortwave radio, the DX100 that I had. And I said, hey, man, go to the CB band. Do you hear me? And he was like 5 or 6 streets away and said, oh, man, you're coming in S9. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. And I played with that for a while. And unfortunately, that CB didn't last very long. I don't know if it's, it totally is possible that I burned it because the antenna was not cut to, and maybe there was too much standing wave. So maybe I did it, but honestly, it was so cheap. I think the CB itself just died. At some point, it was, the PLL was like all broken. When I was transmitting, it was transmitting sporadically on random channels. Even if it said channel 5 on it, I would click, boop. I'd be on channel 18. And I would stop and I would start again. Oh, I'll be on channel 24. And I had no control I suddenly had zero control as to what channel I was using. And one day I just clicked and there was no signal anymore. It was receiving, it was still receiving well. It was just not transmitting anymore. So, then after I had my TRC 432. So anyways, a long story for a CB at the time. But, come on, Smokey and the Bandit, that's CB era. Honestly. Hunter Ham 9, nice to have you on board. Max S. Strong is trying to decide between red wine or espresso. You could start with an espresso and then continue with red wine. Voice of the Report of the Week gave you a shout out in the last broadcast, Hunter Ham. That's cool. That's always fun. That's always fun. Really nice. The Shortwave Frequency Channel, nice to have you on board. Gary Stewart, nice to have you on board from Dudley, UK. Let's go down. PLF Radio, very kind of you to say a few words in French for me. Saying this doesn't mean I dislike English. Shortwave show tomorrow, yes. There's another shortwave show coming tomorrow, absolutely, at 2000 hours UTC. And no, I like it when there's somebody that I know speaks French. I kind of like to have those little French words going through. C'est toujours un plaisir de parler en français. It's always fun. Shortwave Spud heard strange signals on the E07 frequency, and I have an audio file of it. You should put all of that on YouTube. Make sure you put all this stuff on YouTube. It's kind of fun because then you can search for it and look for it. Michael Lindbergh, nice to have you here. S83RIT, nice to have you here. Has anyone heard the Cuban numbers lately? I don't know, about a week ago. I think last time it was on the show here, last Friday. We heard last Friday. Richard Cook heard it this morning, so, it's there. Zach Antle says, speaking of Havana, there's an old movie with Robert Redford called Havana. It's apparently really bad, but I want to watch it anyways. But when people tell you a movie is bad, most of the time we actually like it because we kind of just are in the mood that it's going to be bad. So what the hell? And we end up most of the time liking it. So what else do we have? David Arden says, drill the hole in the wall was big enough to pass a piece of PVC pipe. I made it big enough to pass several wires through. Fill in the hole with a copper dish scrubber. Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea, actually. Brett Lammers, what best times for listening? Is it better to listen to Europe at night or Asia in the morning? Brett, actually, at any location, I would say that the moments of strongest signals will probably be late afternoon and evening, and late at night, early mornings. I think that's pretty much one of the two of the best periods of times, and basically, depending on where you live, very often signals to the east of you are stronger in the evening. But you gotta listen in, honestly. But there are times that are better, yes, absolutely. And, you know, local evening is often the best also because a lot of stations are broadcasting to your target area also. La Postitla, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to have everybody here. Erica Charles says, you need to get the R8600 to get the waterfall back. Yes, Erica, absolutely. Shortwave frequency channel, I've got a strong signal almost all time on 127.745 on this biofan. It could be if it's always there, it could be a birdie made by the biofan. A lot of these handhelds have what we call birdies, which are signals that are generated by the device that appear at different places around the frequency range. So, Dark Noise, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. And the K2's got a very rough signal on Zanzibar, broadcasting 11735. So, a nice sign of the change of the season. Absolutely. We see it, you know, we really see it well now. There's really a change in, I hear a slight something, there's kind of a slight signal. With a little bit, I hear a little bit of audio off of it. So, yeah, Max, that's wrong. That would be nice. Absolutely. Patrick Stenbacher, nice to have you here. How do you direct enter on a Sangean 909X? Well, usually what you do is simply, so, for example, it's probably the same procedure as the old 909, which is, I will demonstrate on the DX398. So if you want to enter a frequency, what you do is you press the, let me just check it out here. I forgot. Okay, frequency. There's a frequency button here where it will actually say frequency in the display. So it's an F that I have right side of the number 3 on the keypad. Then you enter the frequency that you want to hear, and then you press the enter button, which is too many things to do to enter a frequency, but that's how you do it. So you enter the frequency with the button on the right side of the keypad, F. So I guess on the 909X you must have the same button. You enter the frequency you want to type, and then you press the enter button on the bottom right. And you will have entered direct frequency in the radio. So check it out. Yeah, but it should be pretty much the same thing. So thanks for sharing the Hurricane Season, the Hurricane page, or Hurricane WatchNet. Nice to have you here. Edmilson Lopez de Sousa, nice to have you here. PY4BSL, nice to have you on board in 73. Ralph Bender, hey, nice to have you here from Germany. And yeah, the show is above the 100 pretty much right now. So pretty cool. What else do we have? Was that the map I was looking at? Let me just check it out. Yeah, that was the map they were showing on the page of the Hurricane WatchNet. Absolutely, that was the page. Just pray you don't have any tornadoes. Yeah, you know, tornadoes are something that we can have from time to time here. There was actually a couple of weeks back we had strong thunderstorms. 1 or 2 weeks ago. There was actually a tornado somewhere. I don't remember which part of Quebec, but they did see a tornado. We have a couple every year, but they are rarely. You know, here everything is so spread out that they rarely do damage or rarely are. You know, most of the time when we have a tornado, nobody's seen it. It's just that, you know, when they look at the data afterwards, they say, oh, there was a tornado in that area, but, you know, it's like in the middle of the forest. So it's pretty cool. Mike DeVita, nice to have you here. After 21 years, our Kitty Garfield left for the Rainbow Bridge. Oh, that's so sad. I'll cry my heart out when Paul the cat is going to die. I know it. Can tell you that. O.F. Welsh, nice to have you here. And it's nice to have you on board. Don't forget to like the video and the live show. What else do we have? Armando Roberto, it's nice to have you here. Where are you located, Armando? What else? Gordon Treadwell, VE6 GPT. Nice to have you here. And Randall Klontz from Chicagoland. Nice to have you here. Buen amigo. ¿Cómo está mi amigo? From Barcelona. Pretty cool to have everybody here from around the world. It's just so cool. Okay, I'll use crap, David. I'll try to remember that. Crap. Let's try to... every time I say the word, I'm like, no, okay, I often say crap, but I don't know why, but sometimes it just doesn't come up naturally. So I will say crap. Sorry. What else do we have? Let me go down the list. I'm a little far behind, so you guys are probably like, yeah, he's far behind. So what else do we have? What else do we have? Depends on the topic. Charles Williams got 8 Amazon Basics 2400 milliamp hour batteries and a Lacrosse charger. I haven't tried them in the radio yet. You're going to love them. They're great. Honestly, they're really great. Hallie Dreadnought, nice to have you here. Ah, you change your, it's weighted cube, usually. Sean Faye says has the same problem with PayPal. The same crap. Yeah, well, I don't have any problems with PayPal, and I've used PayPal for years. It's really just one of those things that is happening with Patreon. And what's making me mad is it's the second time. And, you know, thank God I'm not, you know, it's not like one of those big amounts that you wait for because you're going to pay the bills or something. You know, it's an okay amount, but I mean, you know, if I don't get it now, I don't have problems with that. But still, you know, it's money that viewers have donated. It's stuck there in somewhere of nowhere land where they're waiting for some, I don't know who, to review it. And I actually sent them a rant, and I even posted on the Facebook page or Patreon, look, I'm fed up with you guys. It's the second time, and I don't know. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with what I do. So you're really just annoying me than anything else. And I told him, you know, if it continues like that, I'll just shut down my Patreon page. So, you know. So, Dexpar, what I'm drinking is vodka and cranberry juice and 7-Up today. I was going to the liquor store the other day to buy a bottle of wine, and because I had friends coming over, and I thought, hey, maybe my friends would like to have maybe some, you know, like a Bloody Caesar or something like that. Have a drink or some sort instead of wine. So I purchased a bottle of Absolute vodka. Usually I buy Grey Goose because the Grey Goose for just when you just take a vodka shot, Grey Goose is actually good. But when I do drinks, I will take something else, like, you know, Absolute is okay to make drinks, and it's not as expensive as Grey Goose, for example. So I bought that, and finally two people took Bloody Caesars, and that's it. So I've got like a almost full bottle of vodka in the freezer. So I decided, hey, instead of beer, why not have a few vodka drinks with, you know, a little bit of juice and 7-Up. It's actually not bad. And the K2 says, PayPal has made me mad with its fees for sending money to Canada. I send you a larger donation space. Yeah, That's the problem with these things. They do take a lot of fees, and for donations that are of a smaller amount, it's a lot. That's a lot, you know. So I get some people that what they'll do is they'll wait a year and give me a year worth of donation in one time, so that the impact of the fees is minimized. So and that's okay. I mean, why not? Break 19. No, is it TRC 232 something like that? Crooked Ninja misses the sunspots. Max S. Trunks, it never fails. I get barrage of work emails and voicemails as soon as I start watching Chill. That's always like that. You want to be quiet. You want to make sure that things are okay. Sorry, guys. Gordon Treadwell says, I did skip on walkie-talkie when I was first into CB. Wow. Really? Skip on a walkie-talkie? Wow. Okay. Commando 602, can anyone recommend a good person to send a Panasonic RF 2200 to get some pots cleaned and fixed with scratchy volume knob? I don't know. There are some online places like Universal that repair stuff. I don't know where you live, Commando. I would go to a local, one of those small electronic shops, but the one where the guy's been there for a long time. Like here, there's a guy on not far from here. That guy's been there for like 30 years, if not more, and I think he's even 40 years. I would bring that guy something to clean because he that, especially for that type of older technology. But I don't know if somebody has some. I know there's some online places that but you can. I was about to say what David Arden is telling you. Actually, you can actually clean it. You can do that yourself. Honestly, it's not that difficult. Be just careful with the type of contact cleaner you get. There are several types. Some are like on the really heavy side, and sometimes they're just too strong. Maybe just be careful with which one. Crooked Ninja, my first radio was a Morse code talkie. Well, I had a Fahon. It was like something like that. Fahon, something like that. It was or Fanon, Fanon, or something like that. It was it looked like a book. It was like rounded on one edge, and it looked like a book, a closed book, and it had a red button on the side. That was my first ever walkie-talkie, and I had a pair of those, and you could actually transmit Morse code with them. Man, that's a long time ago. I was maybe 12 years old back then. Pretty cool. Man. Shortwave Spud says E11 8088 kilohertz USB 3 minutes for those that can hear that. Mostly Europe 8088. I'm not sure I'm going to hear that here. If you spray too much on the receiver, it will dry within a minute. By the way, talking of spraying a receiver, I had a very, very unique problem this week. So I have one of those dishwashers that is outboard, because here there's no dishwashers in where I live. But I wanted to have a dishwasher, so I bought one of those dishwashers on wheels. And of course, it's a assembly that you put in the faucet in the kitchen when you want to use it, and it works great. But a couple of weeks ago, I've had it for like 10 years, and a couple of weeks ago I noticed that there's a small ring that has broken inside the assembly. So I'm looking online to actually like get a replacement. So I plug it in this week, and it was on Thursday. I plug it in, and you know I'm used to just plugging it in and leave it there, and it's okay. So dishwasher starts. I'm doing my stuff on YouTube, and then I shut down whatever's playing, and I hear what sounds like water, and I'm like, what's that? And I get up and I go to the kitchen, and the kitchen floor is full of water. There's water everywhere because that little spot where it's cracked, the water's just like, you know, it's like a fountain, and it's really, really something. And it's been going on probably for a few minutes because it's like there's full of water everywhere. I'm just going nuts. So I hurry up and run like crazy, man, just to find everything that I can find to, like, you know, just take the water out. And at the end, when I cleaned everything, and thank God there's no damage or anything, when I looked on the dishwasher, I had my Sangean ATS 505 on top of it. It was full of water. There was even some fog in the display where the clock usually is displayed, and of course the clock wasn't there anymore, and it wouldn't turn on in anything. It was just like I just removed the batteries quickly, and I thought, oh God, I hope I didn't kill the Sangean ATS 505. And so in the evening, I opened it up, and I took a hairdryer and, like, you know, really dried it a lot. Actually, there was a lot of water in the battery compartment. When I was like putting the radio at a certain angle, it would drip a little bit. So I was like, wow, it's full of water. So I actually for half an hour dried with a hairdryer on with the heat on. And when it looked really dry, I put the batteries back, and I'm happy to say it works. It's back working. It seems to be okay. Of course, I haven't tuned around too much with it, but it seems to be okay. I'm going to cross my fingers for sure. V2XMS says the Cuban number lady should be called Consuela. After the cleaning lady from Family Guy. Oh, man. Oh, God. What else do we have? Radio Thailand 9920 says Rock Ristorante. I'm trying to go down the chat as fast as possible. Hey, Cosmic Lettuce. Nice to have you on board from Southeast Arizona. Hope you're well. He's at his day job. Just be listening. Cool. Nice to have you here. It was nice to see you last night. I hadn't been on the on your live feed for a while. It was nice to be there. Brett Lammers wants to get an ICOM R8500 at some point. Cool. It's a great radio. I'll have fun. Check it out. Hal Willie, nice to have you here. Good evening. And Alan, V01001 SWL. Radio Romania, very strong on 13650. Let's check it out. It's there. Yeah, both frequencies, 11850 and 13650 are kind of weak here, but we hear it. Radio Romania is there. Jerry says lots of rain headed our way, remnants of Gordon. Here was supposed to have rain like on Tuesday, I think, but beautiful weather this weekend. Will be perfect for the Ukrainian festival. Coming down slowly, guys. I will be there at some point. If I haven't said hi, it's because I'm still far in the chat, but I'm coming in. Sidvik, hey there. Nice to have you here. MDK2's got Romania fair signal in Denver 13650. Rodney Christensen, nice to have you here. Newbie, some advice on the good handheld radios that transmits to. Well, first of all, if you want to transmit, you need a license. You need to be an amateur radio operator. So that's the first thing you need to know. You have to get your amateur radio license to do so. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Nice to have people from Newfoundland. Joe Pickey says 13650 strong in Virginia. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Richard Cook said 6170, better frequency for Romania there. Pretty cool. JD Williamson says, hey Joe, you're now halfway down the chat. Yeah, I'm coming down. Dan Walsh, did you decide about the Halloween show? Yeah, I'll have it. The Halloween show will be on October 30th. Sorry for that. But I can't do it on the 31st. I'm going to see Supertramp. I got tickets for Supertramp. And of course, I want to go see Supertramp at Théâtre Saint-Denis. So I will not be available for the Halloween show on the 31st. So I'll do it on the 30th. October 30th will be the Halloween show. Basically, it will be, I think it's a 30th. I think it's a Tuesday night, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully there'll still be some pirates. Commando 622. I can't get anything on 13650. Are you guys getting it? I'm even using an antenna in my attic. It's not very strong here, but it's there. Joshua Gosnell, nice to have you here, Joshua. W4GOG, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Shortwave Spud says the operators of E11 just messed up the call. Playing the wrong number for a second. Oh, that's interesting. Joe Pick, he has 25 feet wire in the attic in the Stangian 909X. That's nice. Nice setup. Pretty nice setup, honestly. Brett Wayne, 13650 is S5 in Salamanca, New York. Cool. What else do we have? Jason Stafford says it should be a short show. Jill will be passed out. Actually, the more I drink, the longer the shows last usually. So it's crazy. When does a long wire become a beverage antenna? I don't remember at what point, but it has to be very, very long. For the most part, even a very long wire is still not a beverage for most people. But I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what's the official length when you call it a beverage. Anybody has the answer to that? What is the official length of a long wire so that you call it a beverage antenna? That's a good question. I remember I've read on that at some point, but I remember it has to be very, very long. Bill Mead, nice to have you here. Says, anyone getting a strong utility station of your WWV 10 megahertz? Let's check it out. 10 megahertz. I've got nothing on 10 megahertz. Let's try 15. See if WWV is making it somewhere. Nothing on 15. 20. Nothing much. Really quiet there. Yeah. Imagine if I had a lot of, well, let me check that out. Fanon T600. Yes. Yes, they were, but they were all black. But that is exactly what I had. That is exactly what I had. The vintage Fanon T600 walkie-talkie. And it had 3 channels. Yeah, this is exactly what I had. But mine were, let me think about it. Yeah, mine were, I believe, black with a silver plate where the red button is. So it was exactly like that, but the black plastic cabinet and a silver plate in front where on this picture it's black. And I had a pair of those. I had a pair of those. And they were actually they were actually surprising, because I had a cheap pair that my brother, I had used a cheap pair that my brother had, and they were barely making, you know, one corner street to the other. Those were actually making a little more. Those were not the best, you know, the 1 watt TRC were much better in every way, in reception and all, but those were a little better than what I was used to. They were actually do a little bit more distance, but you know, they were 100 milliwatts. They were at the minimum, the maximum allowed power technically for no license, and they came out in a time where there was still a license required for CB radio. The requirement for CB radio licenses here in Quebec, in Canada, I think it was dropped somewhere in the early 80s. But at that point, when I had those, there was still a requirement to get a license if you had more than 100 milliwatts on your talkie. But they were like those, absolutely, Eric. It's just that they were black with, and I remember the plate where it's all the buttons. Here it's black. It was a silver plate on mine, so it's maybe a different model or just a different look for the same model. Hey, Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Rivelda 65, hello there, nice to have you on board. Rit Coco says, can you elaborate a bit in plain words about the shortwave concept of skip zone? I mean, when you can't get a shortwave station signal because you're very close to the transmitter site. Okay. Technically, what happens is shortwave signals are, for the most part, sent at a specific angle. So what happens is that you will have a transmitter, and of course, the signal for shortwave propagation most of the time is sent at a certain angle, so it reaches the ionosphere where you kind of want it to be and fall down in another place. The problem is there's a zone where you might not receive that station. So an example I'll use is WBCQ in Monticello, Maine. That station is, in terms of the Earth, quite close to Montreal. So here I'm in that skip zone where, depending on the frequency to use and the propagation characteristics, because there are several things that change that skip zone and the effect it has. And the thing is that skip zone is not the same every time. It really depends on how the ionosphere is at a certain point in time. So sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's wider. And what happens is when the signal from the station moves up to the ionosphere, it will fall down further away. That zone here, in the middle of the signal going up and falling down, you're in that zone where you're not hearing anything. So that is not just when you're close to the transmitter. It can also be when you're far away. For example, that Radio Romania signal. It was not very strong here, but some people farther away hear it better. Some people at other places hear it better. I could be, because there's a skip zone, it's not just one bounce. There could be several bounces of a signal on shortwave before it reaches you. That means you can be in the first skip zone if you're close to the station, like me in WBCQ. You could be in another skip zone if you're on the second bounce, where you don't hear it, but somebody farther away gets it because that's where the signal's actually bouncing off on the ground. So that changes all the time. So it means if you're in that zone, it doesn't mean you can hear the station ever. It means you won't necessarily hear it very often. It all depends on the ionosphere. Another example, CHU time signal here in the CHU time signal here in Ottawa, that's roughly a little more than 100 kilometers away from me. 3330 will come in because the bounce is short. 7850, let's try it for now, for example. 7850, I'm not hearing it right now because it's probably skipping over me. But depending on the time of day, depending on the characteristics of the ionosphere, sometimes it can be really loud and clear. The skip is shorter. It all depends on on the ionosphere for one part. The other frequency they use, 14670. I never hear that. That always skips over me. This never ever falls down where I am. So that people from Europe will hear 14670 and say, hey, I'm getting CHU. Here, it's an impossible task. I've heard it very weakly, and it's the ground signal I hear. It's not the bounce. So, it is pretty much what's happening. So when you're close to a station, you're in that little zone where the signal is moving up towards the ionosphere. So actually, it's going over your head and falling somewhere else. And that's why you can't hear it. You're not in that zone where the signal is. So I hope it's not, too bad. Going down. Slowly. Do beverage antennas have to be close to the ground? Technically, beverage should be higher, the highest possible. I would guess that the beverage needs to be at the highest possible point, honestly. So, no problem, MDK2. Should still be here at 22. Carrier up for 11635. Let's check it out. Yeah, there's a signal. There's a signal. Yep, we're hearing the Cuban number. It's there today. So, hey, Commando 602, it's there. Take care, Commando 602. It's nice to have you here. Matambali says 13650 was good in Colorado. Not seeing it in the IBS space database, though. Yes, it is. It's 13650 is one of the known frequencies for Romania. It should be. It should be. Crooked Ninja has 11635 strong in Texas, 20 dB. Andy Coley says Supertramp are great live. Have fun. Yeah, this is gonna be. I can't wait. I've never seen Supertramp, and when I saw that that they were coming to Montreal, I was like, I have to. Bill Ross, nice to have you here. William Helms says to me at least a quarter to a mile long. Yeah, I remember seeing one guy that had a beverage and it was like almost 1,000 feet. But I don't know. I know there's a requirement. 14122 upper sideband European stations. Let's check it out. Yep. That's 14122. That's one of the frequencies I often hear some French language, and I know that around that frequency there are some Quebec French stations, some stations from France, and I know that for a while, and I don't know if they still do this, but I remember for a while they were talking to a guy that was in the Caribbean area on a boat, and he was actually contacting them all the time. I remember even hearing one for a while, and that was a long time ago. It seems to be kind of I don't know if it's an official or unofficial French language net. Yeah, that station is a French language station, probably from France. But I remember they were on that. I've noted so many times around 14122, 14120, 14121, a meetup of these in the afternoon of these French language guys, and often they would just they would talk, and there was this guy, like a couple of people from France, some from Quebec. I remember one guy that was a guy from Haiti that was checking in all the time, and it was kind of cool, And I heard them maybe a couple of weeks ago was trying out that frequency range. So it seems that it's like a regular kind of net or regular gang of French speakers that actually meet up. But I'm hearing it here. So 14122 upper sideband. Yes, thank you for the donations. By the way, if we're talking donations quickly for those that want to help me out, PayPal, great place. Patreon, I kind of hate now because they're like freezing the money all the time. But thanks for the donations. I've received a few donations following the show. Thanks, Bill, and everybody that have donated. It's nice. So Bill and Ralph Bender, thank you very much. Much appreciated for your donations. And it's always fun to be here and do these live shows. So if you want to give me something, paypal.me/shortwave. PayPal, also at the Yahoo email. If you're on your PayPal account, you can just send it to that Yahoo email, and it's nice to have your contributions. It's always fun to be here and have all of you help out with the donations. They help me continue. They help me pay for equipment, lighting, the internet bill, all of that, if you enjoy what I do. And thanks for those that have donated and kind of reaching out for those that never donated before. It's kind of, something to think about. Reaching out also, like we've been saying, we've been almost always, a lot of the time, over 100 viewers watching and live. And there's a part of the viewers are not on the in the chat room. If you want to say hi and you're not in the chat and you just want to say hi and say, hey, I'm watching, send me a email at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. A little hello with your name and your location, where you are at. Official Shortwave Radio, officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. Say hi. We're going to read that on the air and check it out at the same time. Before we continue, I would like to read a little something about that Rob Rodriguez, fan that watches my YouTube show, sent me this week, talking about last week's show. So last week, if you guys remember, we had a little time where we were talking about AM stations and how AM stations from... I was talking about how AM stereo was kind of a gimmick, a little bit like DRM. So Rob says, hey Joe, I watched Friday's show with great interest over the weekend. The part about AM and FM broadcasting in the past was particularly interesting. He says that he was working at CJAD when they started doing their AM stereo thing. It was definitely a marketing move aimed at attracting more listeners and increasing ratings. I started there in '89, and by 1995, when I left, AM stereo wasn't being plugged any longer. And he says for the, we talk about, DJs and FM music. As for Shum FM, like you, I remember the days when it was no big deal for a DJ to play a 20-minute long song by Yes, Pink Floyd, or Genesis. In the 70s, they'd sometimes go for 45 minutes or an hour without a commercial break. If I remember correctly, they were a bilingual station at the time. Gone are the days of true album rock. The community and college radio stations are all that's really worth listening now on FM. So thanks, Rob, for that that little mail, and it's appreciated. And yep, absolutely. And I remember Shum FM, which is a very, very unique station here in Montreal, because they are in a position of where they actually have English. It's an English station, but listened to by a lot of Francophone because of the rock content. And they had a lot of it's one of those things that that was very unique to that station. And they had, at the time they would play some French language and Quebecois artists. I remember that too. We got an email from Neil Toombs watching. Says, lay in bed watching the show, loving the show. Thank you so much, Neil. Nice to have you on board from the UK, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to have you here. Saying hi through the email. Nice to have you here. So if anybody else wants to check in through email, official shortwaveradio@gmail.com is the place to be. And it's always really, really nice to have all of you on board as usual. Okay. I've got like tons of people talking to me right now. Andy Coley says, a beverage over 256 meters. I don't know. I don't remember where, but I remember reading something about like reading something like 1,000 feet was considered a beverage or something like that. Oh, exactly. These are exactly the ones I had. Yes, 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 Eric. CB Transceiver Voyager Phantom. Oh man. 9 transistors, superhead, the T091. That was exactly what I had. It had channel A, B, and C, but I had only channel A. I didn't have crystals on the other channels. And on, tone, or off. Yeah, you could transmit, push to talk, or do some, have a tone and send some Morse code. I had that pair. And wow, wish I would still have those. Wish I would still have those. I mean, wow. This brings back a lot of memories. I was about 12, maybe 12 years old when I was 11 or 12 years old when I had this. Even 10, maybe even 10 years old. I don't remember which years they were made, but somewhere from 10 to 12 years old I was. Anywhere from about 79 to 81, in that range. That's when I had those walkie-talkies. That's exactly what I had, Eric. Thanks for finding that. Wow, this is cool. Pretty cool. Bill Ross says, my Magloop antenna was delivered this past Tuesday, and it is fabulous. It really nulls the RFI. I was close to giving up on shortwave hobby, but now rejuvenated. Wow, this is cool. You know, giving me the idea of getting one. Max S. Strong says there would be no radio hobby for me without loop antennas. Cool. I need to check that out. I really need to check that out, honestly. Wow. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Elton Byington says CH1 3330 should ground wave in Montreal. Yeah, usually they do. If I don't have too much noise. Yep, here it is. It's in the noise, but it's there. I do have a very, very high noise level there. So 3330, yeah, that one does. Oh, okay. So it needs to be low at several wavelengths. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. But I know it has to be really long. I can tell you that. Radio Vanek Cuba blasting at 12 megahertz. Let's check it out. 12,000. Radio Vanek Cuba. So, yep, Radio Vanek Cuba 12,000. Richard Cook's got it also. 12,000. Atom Bali says, scan the database for 13650 by hand. Yeah, okay, that's it. You didn't see it because of the time that it went off. Yeah, absolutely. So, maybe we could do some weather facts. Hey, Casey Red Dragon, yeah, we'll check that out. Why not? Why not? Pretty cool. Can I ID was on 14.122. I didn't listen much. I would have to. Let's see if I can hear the station. I believe there's a station in Martinique in the Caribbean that's often there also. I'll keep a look at PLF radio for that. But there's a lot of French language speakers on that. Long-wave underground antennas. Nope. Never. Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod. W2BJP. I mean above trade ground. Ah, okay. I was wondering. Sylvia Oliva, nice to have you here from Blue Springs, Missouri. K0VY, nice to have you here. Absolutely. So many different aspects to radio. Absolutely. There's so many things that radio has, from, you know, anything from, you know, long wave listening to shortwave to medium wave, FM, and even in there's like a million different things that you can listen to. And it's just amazing. And you know, as technology advances, we have more types of technology used in the radio sphere also, which is kind of nice. Edgardo Anaya, nice to have you here. Welcome back, Mr. Bullfrog, KD2CXU. Richard Cook's got 6070 strong playing music, which is probably what, channel 292 in your area. Pretty nice to have all of you here. Matambali says, I think an important facet of the beverage antenna is that the far end of it is terminated through a resistor to ground. That's interesting. I do not have a big enough space to ever put up a beverage. That's a good question. Are beverage antennas directional? I know that long wires are technically directional, so a beverage could be directional, absolutely. Because a long wire is actually directional, honestly. It receives to the sides. So it's kind of interesting. What's up, Vietnam on 9730 in Spanish, Richard says. David in Barcelona, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Seven times the medium frequency of the band you're receiving. Huh. Hey, Gary Horobin, nice to have you here from Tokyo, Japan. GA1002SWL, nice to have you on board from early morning Saturday over there. Pretty cool. Rogerio Rocha, nice to have you here. Nice to have you on board. MDK2 says, breaking in while waiting at school, listening to Radio New Zealand 13840. They had a long sea weather bulletin, like listening to Coast Guard station. It just finished. Yeah, when they do those specific weather bulletins, it's kind of interesting. It's like the station becoming a utility station suddenly for a few, you know. Would it be fair to say beverage antennas cut for a specific frequency and direction? It, of course, probably is used for those very, very low frequencies like long wave, medium wave. Better. I think it mostly, without being cut for a specific frequency, maybe we could say it be cut for a specific range, like long wave, for example. And if it is directional, obviously you got to put that beverage in the right angle for whatever or wherever you want to listen to. Bobby says he's weathered out for satellite listening for a while. Max says strong. Gary says, going for my first soda on Sunday, will be active on 20 and 40. Very excited. Oh, that's going to be nice to some people can hear our friend in Japan. That'd be nice. Erica Trail, go for it, Joe. What? Pair of Phantom? How much? How much is it? Really? The guy's got a pair of those? Really? It's almost tempting. That would be, that's like 55 US dollars. That will be about 75 Canadian dollars. Shipping included, everything. I gotta say, it's tempting. They're used. Yeah, they look, I don't know. Is there any other pictures? Yeah, okay, a picture of the side. Well, they look rather well kept though for use. They seem to be quite clean. Huh. Okay. It is tempting, I gotta say. Yeah. What else do you have? Item that has been previously of some signs of cosmetic wear, but is fully operational and functional. Functions as intended. So, it's almost tempting. Almost tempting. I gotta say. So David in Barcelona says, for the information, the length of the beverage depends on the wavelength and frequency it's intended to. It also has to be oriented to in a specific direction. Radiation is off the tip of the wire. Kind of nice. Interesting. Very strong carrier, 13670, portable Voice of America. Let's try it out. 13670. Nothing here. Something very, very weak. 13670. It's nice to have everybody here. Take care, Sean Fahy. It was nice to have you here. What else do we have? Let's go down. Let's check it out. Andrea DXer says, I know that millimeter wave DXers that use beverage antennas to get more precise areas of reception, so I would say yes, it is directional. Yeah, it's probably very directional. Probably. Mountain Valley says, you need a big property understanding neighbors or be really stealthy to sling up a beverage antenna. Well, you know, not that I'd sneak into the neighbor's yard, huh? You know, Mountain Valley, I had a 100 feet wire at some point crossing over my neighbor's yard, and for those that haven't heard the story, I actually sneaked around midnight in the neighbor's yard while she was sleeping to put up the wire on the telephone pole at the other end of her yard, and Paul the cat was outside also. And you know, cats, they see everything, even when it's dark. I couldn't see a thing. And when I started pulling on the wire to have the end of the wire come through, I had a resistance at that point. And I was wondering why. Paul the cat was actually jumping all over the wire because it was moving on the ground. So he was like jumping on the wire every time I would move it. So it's like, oh man, it's already risky. I'm, you know, like anonymous in the backyard in the dark, and my cat's just jumping around because he sees the wire on the ground moving everywhere. But you know, I had done it. You know what? I did that, but honestly, she's an old, like 90-year-old lady, and I'm probably positive that if I would have said I need to go in your yard to put a wire up for my radios, I'm almost positive she would have said it's okay. But you know, there's that thing about you. And you know what, shortwave listening and radio in general, I don't know about you guys, but we tend to want to be low profile. The less people know about what we do, kind of the better it is most of the time. So we get to a point where it's like, yeah, okay, no, maybe it's better to just be like that, and just nobody know whatever's happening. Johnny the Xer, nice to have you on board. Mantham Valley says, put a 250-foot C-shaped antenna just 6 feet off the ground around the fence perimeter. It is sensitive and noisy as at VLF, very low frequency. You guys are giving me kind of a feel of playing around with antennas this weekend. I wanted to go to the electronics store for this weekend. I need a few things. I think I'm gonna buy a few, buying a few 100 feet of wire and try different things. I feel like trying a few things. Maybe it's gonna be fun, some kind of loop or whatever. Gary Horobin's got Alpha Mag loop, getting some good results. Yeah, Eric, it's 30 US, but it's 25 US shipping to Canada. That's why it's 55 total. Hey, Daxfar, nice to have you on board. A good night, as usual, from Germany. It's getting late over there. I do understand that a little bit. Cody Miller, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Yeah, I remember reading about that thing, that station that's like based on beverage antennas in Finland that like really, Mountain Valley say, I love stealthy antenna stories. So, it was just kind of fun. And I did that a few times. I went in her yard a few times too. And, I tend to go out at night most of the time to put up my antennas. And it's probably the worst idea in the world because, honestly, someday some neighbor is going to see some weird guy in the backyard and they're going to call the cops and say there's some weird guy doing something in the backyard. So technically, it should be better. But, when you put it up an antenna, you get questions, even if you don't say it. When I put up my sloper, the end of the sloper is in the east part of the yard here in the backyard. And it is on top of I used a broomstick that is clamped to the fence. And on top of the broomstick, which puts it at about 12 feet high, there's where my sloper starts. And it's a thin wire. It's almost impossible to see. But still, a month after it was there, the guy in the back, there was a neighbor in the other side in the back that came up to me and said, can you tell me what that is? He noticed immediately there was something. Maybe he saw me put it up also, I don't know. But I think he just saw the wire because the other neighbor next to him said, oh, what's that? But everybody sees my wire. I thought it was difficult to see, but everybody sees it. And, I explained to them it's for reception, and I'm listening to stations all over the world, and they were understand. But, when you put up wires and antennas, neighbors get kind of a little nervous, especially those that have been there for a long time because they remember those, times in the 70s or the 80s when CB antennas were popping up everywhere and interfering with their TV reception or stuff like that. So, things that happen, I guess, But, it's the way it happens, and it's okay. Danny, Shortwave, and Radio DX, nice to have you here from mild and cooler Yonkers, New York. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have here, cooler also. It's pretty good. I like the weather. It's good weather. Take care, PLF Radio. It's nice to have you on board as usual. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Another show tomorrow for those that wonder. J.D. Williamson, low profile, have an inverted V-trap 20-40 meter midpoint up with an old fishing pole. My neighbor asked what I was fishing for. I said radio waves. That's nice. Wow, 13 beverages in Finland. That's amazing. Cody Miller, nice to have you here. And says he just got into the software-defined radio thing. Find it really interesting. It is totally interesting and really a lot of fun, honestly. Leovaldo Majoro Magallanes, nice to have you here. And always nice to have you on board. Bullfrog 89, you have scanners. You could listen for a police response. Well, I can't. The cops in Montreal now all they're now all encrypted, so we can't anymore. So here the police. The only police that I hear here is the local provincial police. Provincial police is not encrypted here in Quebec. Well, it is, but they don't encrypt it all the time. So you often have whatever happening, and you pretty much hear all the time about what's happening. Anybody else? Yeah. So we have Garrett, Netherlands. Sorry. Nice to have you here. NL 13248. Listening from the show from Omen in the Netherlands. So it's nice to have you on board, my friend. Bill Ross is the loop. He sends me a link to the loop that he's purchased. Okay, let me check that out here. Oh, that looks interesting. Mag loop. Oh, not too pricey too. Huh, that's interesting. I will take that a look at that. Absolutely. Looks interesting. Now, one of the things, but I never have the time, would be to build one. There's one ham radio operator that has the plans for that on one of the on his website, and man, I should try to do that, honestly. So AMC, nice to have you here. Orange cats love sneaky things. But, it's just that I'm in the dark, I don't see anything, and I just pull on the wire, and every time I pull on the wire, he just jumps at it all the time. He actually jumps so much that at one point, it just is a big, there's a lot of tension, so I'm like, what the hell? And I go and look, and I see that it's Paul the cat, and he's all tangled in the wire, because there was like 100 feet of wire on the ground. He's all tangled in. I was like, oh man, I'm almost choking the cat. And but at first, I didn't think it was the cat. I thought it was just stuck somewhere, because it was past the corner. So I didn't see the cat was jumping on everything that was moving in the ground. And when it had resistance, and I moved close, and I was like, oh man, and it was all tangled. He had like one of his legs like all tangled, 3 turns of wire, and the other one passing here. Is like, man, I almost choked my cat to death. Poor guy. Johnny the Xer, encryption is pure evil. Yeah, it's just crazy. Hey, Casper Peterson, nice to have you on board. Always nice to have everybody here. DX the cat is sleeping in the bedroom, so I'm surprised that he hasn't actually come over and said hi, because usually when he hears me talk, he usually comes over. So Crooked Ninja, I know a guy that has so many antennas around his house, looks like a Faraday cage. Oh man. Rob Webster, nice to have you on board. Says, well, again in England on DMR's traffic wardens and home care for older people. Huh. But you got to listen in. There's some stuff to listen in, generally. So you got to do it. That must be interesting. Balloon-mounted antennas, like it reminds me of when they were doing those experiments on 2-meter, the amateur radio groups here in Montreal and in Quebec, and we're sending these repeaters in the air with those weather balloons, and they were like going up like a couple of thousands of feet. They would go up to like 30,000 feet, and that was a lot of fun. Honestly, that was pretty cool. Ray Erdink, nice to have you on board from Leeds, UK. Pretty cool. And yeah, watch out for the power lines. Absolutely, that would be like, oh God, big party balloons and some fine magnet wire. I think I remember someone that did something with kites. He had a kite with in the instead of using regular cords, he would use like thin electrical wire for the kite, and use it as an antenna. You feel like Benjamin Franklin or something. It's kind of interesting. Erica Chol, I would like a tethered aerostat for an antenna platform. Oh man. Oh God. Today we could use drones. You probably could put a very thin wire on drones and have a drone antenna. A drone flying an antenna. Yeah, that'd be nice. That can be done. We had the same idea, Crooked Ninja. Momentum Valley says Ben Franklin. Yes, was just thinking about that. It's like, okay. Oh man. Bullfrog 89 says, I wanted to make a dual band Slim Jim antenna and put it on a balloon up high, see how far I could get with a handheld. Yeah, these are like interesting experiments to do. For sure. For sure. Remember, yeah, absolutely, at the KBC, Mighty KBC tomorrow night, 0000 UTC broadcast for North America will be down on 5960, which will probably help it a lot in the propagation, because 9925 starting to get the rough copy now that the days are shorter. We're really seeing a lot of change in the propagation characteristics lately. I can tell you that. So that'd be kind of interesting. Great minds think alike. Yeah, absolutely, Crooked Ninja. I was about to say that. WRMI on 7780. Let's try it out here. It had a surprisingly strong signal here last night. I could actually listen in. It's very weak here. There's something on 7550, which is probably only the radio. Oh, only the radio is on like DRM, I think. I don't know. There's something there. Let's try 9445. Not really getting much. We've got Greece. Greece on 9420. $94.90 kilohertz and Spanish. 94.90 kilohertz. Let's check that out. 9490, and it's what is that? 9490. No, it sounds like some kind of local. Yeah, 2130. It's the Voice of America in that African language from Ascension Islands. Voice of America 9490. Hey, Bobby Burgess, we can see you. Absolutely. Jerry DX, linear power supply for my Kiwi is shipped and on its way, getting rid of any noise I can. Yeah. Gotta have that powered and really have the minimum amount of interference going into that thing, for sure. Casper Peterson says, when my life feels like a nightmare and the women don't love you no more, I turn to beer, whiskey, and Bob Dylan. Oh, man. I turn to shortwave radio. Shortwave radio needs to be in there, you know. Beer, whiskey, Bob Dylan, and shortwave radio. Would I turn to Bob Dylan? I would turn to... What I would turn to? I don't know. I'd probably turn to Pink Floyd or something. I don't know. J.D. Williamson says, balloons, drones interfere with the RF. Why not the kite? Yeah, that's what we were saying. Kites also. Hey, Casper Peterson's call. William Helm says, brainstorming session. We got stuff going on. This is so cool. Vancouver Island DXer, nice to have you here. No problem. He says he measured and cut the wires for his dipoles this week. So pretty cool. Brian Chappell in on the West Coast. VE7AUL or VE7011SWL. Nice to have you here. Richard says, yep, 7550 is all India radio and DRM. It keeps changing. Yeah, they often are analog instead of DRM, absolutely. Weak CHU on 7850 says Richard, cool. Casper Peterson says, shortwave can't heal me. You know, keep away from Leonard Cohen, oh man. Ralph Bender, take care, my friend. Thanks for the donation, by the way. I don't know, I would, Foo Fighters. I would put on a mix of songs or something, I think. I would, you know, stay away from the... One thing for sure is stay away from all the love songs, you know, like, you broke my heart, I broke your heart, and we just can't live with it anymore or something, you know. Oh, Brett Wayne has one, Lifting Kites. Oh, wow, this is interesting. Pretty cool. The best thing to do is to change your mind on it. Think about it. WBCQ 7490. Let's check it out here. 7490. See, that's an example of skip zone. WBCQ is pretty much jumping over me at this time, and it often happens. It often happens, and this is a part of the of being close to a transmitter is. So usually, you know, I will tune to WBCQ, which will come in usually like on 5130. 5130 usually comes in really well. And actually tonight I'm going to listen in. I listened last week. I had not listened in a long time. Alan Wiener, Worldwide, is live on the Friday nights. So I think I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm trying after the show. I'm trying a special recipe, tuna hamburgers. So it's a recipe where you make these tuna pads and you cook them on the barbecue. So I kind of can't wait for what that will be like. Probably will be really good. Joy Division is good depressed music. There's a lot of music to depress, you know. It's like, you better listen to, you know, I don't know, music you like. I think in those times you listen to music you like. Try not to listen to depressing music, but you change your mind. So, you know, you listen to shortwave, do something, you know, honestly. Vancouver Island DX says, BC Hydro had a power failure scheduled for my street on Thursday, but I have to be away for most of the day, so I won't be able to take advantage of any noise reduction. Oh, that's sad. It's fun to be there when it's scheduled, you know. You got to take the day off. And imagine telling your boss, it's like, well, you know, I won't be in on Thursday because there's a power outage on my street and I got to stay home. And, you know, that look from your boss, like, why do you have to stay home for a power outage? Well, you know, got to listen to those signals that I never hear, so it's worth, you know, getting the day off. Have I ever, in the times that I worked for someone else, have I ever taken a day off because of some special event for Shortwave? I don't think I ever did. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think I've ever done that. Take a day off for some shortwave or radio related event. And thinking about it, it's like, well, you know, I should have. When I work as a tech guy, it doesn't count, because if there was something special for radio, when I work as, I was self-employed, so I could just take a day off, not take any clients on that day. And, you know, and now I'm lucky, because with the YouTube stuff that I do, I'm very lucky. I can actually listen to pretty much anything that will happen on the radio most of the time, because I work from home and I'm always next to the radio. So at least I'm kind of lucky in that side of things. You know. So, you know. Phoenix Heat, nice to have you on board from Arizona. Pretty cool. Patrick Manny, nice to have you here. Have you used the beta version 2.8 of HDSDR? No, I've not touched at this at all yet. I'm still on 2.76. I need to check it out. I totally forgot. I think you were the one telling me about that new version of HDSDR. I will try it out tonight. Well, I'll try to set that up tonight and check it out. See if it works. I'll do it on another PC, and I want to mess up my setup here on this one. Brett Wayne's got 7490 S9 in Salamanca, New York. Richard Cook's got WINB 9265. J3ZEN, nice to have you here. Garrett from Oman, the Netherlands, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Devos, It's a Beautiful World always cheers me up. I don't believe I've ever heard that. Yeah, grilled tuna, Matambali. It's kind of very unique. They make these patties off of tuna. So you gotta have like chunk tuna, and you mix it up with other stuff to make the patties, and cook them on the barbecue. I guess it's gonna be good. Anyways, I want to try it. Bullfrog says, too close to hear WBCQ over the air, not close enough for ground wave, huh? Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening here on WBCQ. It's just a little too far away for the ground wave, but too close, unless propagation is very unique in that, you know, because this is a 50-50. Some nights I'll have it, you know, or afternoons I'll have WBCQ really well in 7490. And some days, like now, I got nothing at all. So, you know. Casper Peterson, is anybody out there? Where is the Broken Love channel? Oh, man, you got to take your mind off of it, for sure. I can tell you that. Oh, that must be good. Grilled cheese with extra sharp cheddar and tuna. Oh yeah, that sounds good. I like sharp cheddars. I'm a big lover of cheese. I try tons of different cheeses all the time. I just love it. Dan Walsh, shrimp cocktail tonight. Hey, Mr. Paul, the cat is here. Yeah, I know I need a break. I'm going totally nuts with all that I do. I totally understand. Hey, we've got a visitor, guys. We've got a visitor. Come on. Come on. There we go. Come on, man. Here we go. And here is Mr. Paul the cat, for all of you that want to see him. So it's nice to have Paul the cat here. He's very cute cat. He just woken up from his little nap and just decided to come and say hi to everybody. So Mr. Paul is here. Yeah, I do need vacation. That is something that I probably do because I'm going nuts with doing only YouTube stuff. But, you know, it's work. It's work, and, you know, people want to see your videos, and you got to put up stuff. But I do need a vacation of some sort, absolutely. So, hope everybody's seeing. Well, if you can look up. Yeah, here we go. Mr. Paul the cat. Yeah, nice little cat. Nice little kitty. Absolutely. So let's put it like this. So hope everybody's enjoying that little Paul the cat moment. And what else do we have? Matt and Bali said, I took a day off because a new shortwave rig showed up in the mail. That was a really nice rig though. Okay. Okay, now that you tell me that, Matt and Bali, yes. And you guys are going to freak out. When I got my ICOM ICRD 500, I had a day full of tech jobs. And when I got the R8500, I canceled the full day and I put everybody the next day because I just like, no, today's radio day. I'm just doing radio. I want to try that thing on. I really need to set it up and work my new ICOM. And I remember I canceled my work day. Because I thought, no, I'm not working today. I've got an ICOM. I'll be just thinking of the ICOM. I won't even be there while fixing computers. So everybody is next day. I did do that. That remind me about that. I can tell you that. Richard Cook says 9800. Radio Cairo on, but poor audio. Yeah, typical Radio Cairo. Yeah, it's there. Which is sad because, honestly, Radio Cairo is always, very often with a very, very good signal. But, you know. Well, you know, that's still vacation. I mean, if I would go on vacation somewhere, I would have a radio. You know? I mean, come on, if I go on vacation in another country, I really, really, really need to... you know, have a radio with me. Lion Nepal, nice to have you here. Do you mind if I have a question about the PL380? Go ahead. Ask away. Ask away. What else do we have? Yeah, man. He wants to put himself in a comfy position. Here it goes. Here's Mr. Paul. I don't know if you guys can see him. Mr. Paul is now right here, positioned like he likes it. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I hear Radio Cairo 9800, but it is a little distorted, absolutely. Some Mr. Paul the cat. WRMI 9955 coming in weak, says Richard. William Helms loves Devo. I don't know much about Devo. I know Whip It, the song Whip It. I don't really know much more about Devo. I'll need to check that out on my my Google Play music subscription and listen in. Dart Vegan, nice to have you on board, Brad, from London, Ontario, VA3XWL. Pretty cool to see you here. And nice to have all of you on board, by the way. And let me just go here. We're at a steady above 100. Above 100. So everybody's happy to see Paul. He is big. Paul is a huge cat, I can tell you that. Cosmic Lettuce, happiness is a kitty in the lap. Yep, absolutely. Paul the cat. Kiki says hello from Gaspé area, Paul. I know you understand all of that. Ernie Turner, nice to have you on board from Southern Australia. And especially Mr. Paul. VK3DET, nice to have you on board. Yeah, DX just stole the show. So now I'll just put him on the chair, go away. You guys gonna watch, you know. If I see 1,000 viewers after like half an hour instead of 100, I'm not doing these shows anymore. I'm just leaving the cat live, and that's it. So no, he's been fine. He's been going around a lot in the neighborhood, and he's pretty good. He's pretty good, and pretty happy little cat, I think. And man, it's 3 years, already 3 years, a little more than 3 years now that Paul has been part of the family here. Pretty nice, pretty cool. Shortwave, cold winter nights, coffee and cats. Yeah, and sometimes beer. But honestly, when I DX or when I listen to the radio and I don't do live shows or anything, I don't drink. I never drink at home, or almost. It's for me, it's a social thing. For me, it's really a social thing. So it's like the live shows, or if I have friends over. But apart from that, it probably will be, in most nights of listening to Shortwave alone, will be Shortwave, cold and coffee and cats, if he's there. He's often there, like, next in the chair next to me, just like making sure that, But now he's just like, on my lap. Leon Nepal, honored, big fan. Official Shortwave channel, man. From Nepal, Shortwave, international radio stations also, SSB signals sometimes. If you want to listen to single sideband signals, you need to get the PL660. Because the PL380 it is a very good radio. It does not have a single sideband. So what you need to get is the PL660, which is a very good radio and will give you the bonus of single sideband signals at the same time. So that's what you need to do. Matam Bali says, absolutely the right thing to do. Get an ICOM rig, take the day. Absolutely. The first software-defined receiver I've ever touched in my life is the DX Patrol. I don't know if you guys seen, I had a DX Patrol SDR at some point. That was the first ever software-defined radio that I have used. And it broke down really fast. The construction of the DX Patrol was not very good. And so I actually what happened is I did a review on the channel, because at first it was really nice and I kind of loved it. Then it broke down really fast, so I actually told the guy, look, I bought this DX Patrol and it's not working well and it's got a lot of problems with it. And actually had one of the common problems I had, and what I have seen others have it, was that one of the connectors would actually easily get unsoldered. So the guy told me, oh, well, you're that guy from the official Shortwave channel. I will send you one free of charge. You don't have to do anything. Let me just send you another one. But in that period of time, because it took a lot of time for him to respond, I actually posted a ranting video saying, hey, don't buy the DX Patrol because it's a piece of crap, and the guy doesn't answer back when you actually have problems. So I never got another one, and I guess he looked at my ranting video, and said, the hell with him. But DX Patrol was the first SDR I had. It's been a while now. I don't remember what year I posted the DX Patrol video, but it's been a little while. That was my first software-defined radio, and I was amazed, and I found it so cool to use it. Also, I've been having a lot of fun with the RTL SDR. I got a 10-inch Android tablet with Android 7.1 on it, and I actually been able to have my RTL SDR work on it. And SDR Touch on a 10-inch screen is actually really, really cool, honestly. J.D. Williamson's got Kenwood. Yeah, my first big rig was a Kenwood R5000. I got that in 1990 around. Take care and have good breakfast, Gary, in Japan. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. HM01 messing up still on 11635, says Richard Cook. Jerry's got hams on 14223. Let's check it out. 14223, upper sideband. Anything here?
Japan Echo. Over.
I think that's the guy from Spain, EA3JE. Yep, Echo America 3, Japan Echo. That guy is super strong. There's another station very strong, a little higher on 14248. I'm going to check that out also. And what else do we have? David Darden says, vacation in another country. That's why I got the Sony ICF 7600. Yeah, I would bring a portable receiver with me, absolutely. AMC says, Mr. Paul, hello. You want some wires to get tangled up with? Yeah, wants me to have another 100 feet in the backyard or something. Lou Rubens, nice to have you here. KJ3LR in Florida. Nice to have you on board, Lou. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey there. DJK Solo, nice to have you here from New York. Pretty cool. Oh, by the way, Johnny the Extra says, my cat, Sir Paul McCartney, says hi to Paul. If you guys want to watch, if you guys love Paul McCartney, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, that is 100 hours UTC, he has a live YouTube concert, free of charge tonight. If you go on YouTube Live, he is live with a concert. Paul McCartney is having a free concert on YouTube Live. So it's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 100 hours UTC tonight on YouTube. So check it out. If you Google Paul McCartney YouTube, you'll get on it easily. He's having a free concert tonight. I'm going to try to check that out also, for sure. Romania 9760. Let's check it out. 9760. Yep, pretty good.
Romania has made important steps towards combating corruption.
So, hey guys, I'm going to do a little something. I will leave you with Radio Romania for a little bit. I will go fill up my glass of something to drink with vodka in it. And if you guys want, we'll continue the show, of course. The evening is young, it's Friday. And if you guys want to have a little bit more, I'm going to go fill up my glass with another vodka cranberry juice. So, back in a couple of minutes.
I will carry out an assessment of the activity of the National Anti-Corruption Directorate, a professional analysis of the whistles, which will be subjected to a careful analysis to see if they stand, as well as the selection of prosecutors working for the Directorate, which will be operated by the Prosecutive Section of the Superior Council of Magistracy, as per the amended law and
The Save Romania Union opposition accused the Justice Minister of lack of transparency making his nomination and the arguments he used to back it. Se luminiezului anti-ion.
Niciun nu ne-a explicat foarte clar care sunt motivele pentru care a ales-o pe doamna procuror.
The minister did not clearly explain what motivated him to nominate Adipatola. We can guess some of his motives, because we took a quick glance at Mrs. Skinner's managerial project, and we found some of her points to be consistent to the latter with the criticism Minister Tola brought against the former head of the directorate, Laura Potutsakadashi.
Procedure stipulates that once a nomination is made, the Superior Council of Magistracy states that the service of the former before the President can sign the appointment decree. Many wonder what Klaus Johannes will do, considering that he dismissed Kadashi only with most controversial constitutional court ruling. The President has the possibility to reject the proposition. Johannes did the same a while back when he first refused to remove Kadashi from office. Rather than repeat the messages, which issued a ruling sanctioning a constitutional conflict between the President and the Justice Minister. The opposition is dismissing Kadashi from Romania's foreign.
Radio Romania, 9760, with a pretty good signal, actually. 11635 announcing numbers. Yes, it's probably they've messed up. Probably they messed up. So, yep. Yeah, I know. I want to put my my ICOM 8500 online. Would be nice. I know a lot of people have asked me, you know, it'd be fun to have an online receiver. So, okay, let's continue down the list. So what else do we have? Hey, McGlone, nice to have you on board. You're cool. Yo, own room, nice to have you on board. So remember last year when I was applying a master degree in Milan, watch your live show and to relax. Now I'm in Milan. Your show helped me to come through at hard time. Cool. Cool. No, this is not a web SDR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a Fedry receiver in my home here. It's a little box that I have over there on the desk. It's plugged to a 75 feet antenna in my backyard, and it's controlled via the computer with a software called HD SDR. So this is not an online SDR. This is my own web. This is my own radio. It's not a web-based radio. Here in Montreal, Quebec. And just before we continue, once again, a little bit of donation if you guys like what I do. And can spare a little change. It's you know, welcome. It helps me continue in what I do. It helps me pay for equipment, pay the internet, and just, you know, have these shows all the time. I'll be back tomorrow at 2000 hours UTC. So these shows, you know, you got to prepare them a little bit. You got to try to have you know, some time. You know, this is my work, so of course it helps me out. So thanks for everybody that have donated, and please consider donation. PayPal is favored if you can. PayPal.me/shortwave, or at the Yahoo email you see there. There's Patreon, but Patreon I kind of hate right now because they are frozen my. It's the second time they've frozen the money, saying there's illegal activity on the account, which is very weird. So I'm getting a little tired of Patreon, honestly. So PayPal, kind of my preferred way right now. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for the donations. And if you never donated and you like what I do, why not spare a little something? And of course, if you don't want to use electronic stuff to send me donations, you can do like a couple of viewers have done. You can send me a little hello through the official shortwaveradio@gmail.com email, and ask me for my address and my postal address, and you can send me an international postal money order into whatever amount you want, in whatever currency it is, and I will be changing that at the post office here. So all you have to do is ask me for my postal address through email and say, hey, I want to send you that my donation, but I don't want to use those electronic stuff. Thanks for everybody that donated, my friends. Okay. What else do we have? What else do we have? Keegan, nice to have you here in Northwest Arkansas, 84 Fahrenheit. Not too bad. That's not too bad weather, actually. Here it's about 75 right now, I would say. Nice to have all of you here. Pretty cool. Leon Nepal has. I have also Sony Shortwave 7600 JR. I bought before 16 years. It has SSB, but this time I want to try the Texan. Let me try the new brand. That's why I will buy PL380. Oh, cool. You'll be happy with the PL380. It's a very, very nice one. Will be a very, very nice one. 10715 HM01, loud and clear. Let's check it out. Yep. Yep. And let's go back to that Spanish station. Let's see if there's a 20-meter band. There's something here.
Alpha Sierra W5URX 73. W5URX QRZ. Whiskey 5 Uniform Radio X-Ray calling CQ20. CQ20, CQ20, hello 20, calling CQ20 from W5URX.
So this one is a U.S. station. Yeah, the Spanish station is always there in the bands. He's just so strong, so strong. Oh, really? MDK2, man, this is crazy. There's almost no delay. Wow. No problem, Johnny the Xer. Well, 4 years ago. I don't remember when, so that was my first software-defined receiver. Mikhail says he's selling his new LP. Yeah, I heard he had a new album coming out to Paul McCartney, absolutely. So for those that missed, Paul McCartney is live tonight on YouTube. There's a free concert, live concert, at 8 p.m. Eastern, 0000 hours UTC. I know it doesn't have anything to do with radio, but, you know, I think a lot of us are radio lovers and music lovers, so I think this is kind of cool to just check here if we got an email from somebody, because I haven't checked the messages in a little while. Thanks for the donations, by the way. I've seen a few donations come through. Thank you very much. So I'm looking if anybody says hi through the official Shortwave. So Roland Helms sent me butterfly antenna kind of plans. Thanks for sending that. So May 2014. Wow, over 4 years ago now. Does that thing still exist? I haven't checked if the DX Patrol is still something that's being done today. The DX Patrol was was pretty much, I would put it in the same. It's just that it came in a little box called DX Patrol because it was pretty much the same thing as the Soft 66, basically. So, you know. William Helms says, summer 1970, my dad's Aircastle turned 136 F1 shows at the post office. Mom and I go pick it up. Dad is alongside in the fast lane on his lunch hour in traffic, and Mom pulls out to follow us home. Keegan says, I watched an interview with Paul McCartney on The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon last night. Oh, wow, nice. You know what? If you guys, I'm not a fan of carpool karaoke. I don't watch that much on YouTube. But if there's one to watch, the carpool karaoke with Paul McCartney is the one you got to watch. It is amazing. It is amazing. Cosmic Lettuce, 2 minutes delay. Not bad, not bad. Master Strong says, more Gilles, please. Oh, man. No, but it's targeting Europe, Richard. So it's in the same... If you look where it's targeting, I think it was Western Europe. It's the same general direction as North America. That's why it's heard here. So, you know. Agoraphobic, well, it's actually 6:19 p.m. here. This is universal time. This is universal time. Darkness is 2 days. I built myself a Yagi antenna 77 out of wood and some copper wire and terminal blocks. Works pretty well. And you know, there's this satisfaction when you build your own antennas or own equipment. There's a satisfaction of something you built that works, and it's just great. Bill Ross receiving Romania well in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I've put more vodka in this one, and I just took a sip, and I immediately felt the effects of. I think this is going to be. I'm going to really drink this one slowly, because I'll be really drunk in the end. Mink H says, I know a chap named Gilles who drinks vodka by the pint. Yeah. Yeah. Just a little bit. Not a lot. So it's midnight 10 in the Netherlands. Pretty cool. Agoraphobic Adam. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is where the show comes from. It's a show about shortwave radio and radio in general. Listening in, tuning to signals. What kind of antennas do I have? I've got 2 antennas. One for VHF, which is a mobile vertical for the VHF, UHF range. And I've got a sloper, which is a 22 meter long sloper antenna, east-west direction in my backyard. That's pretty much what I have right now as antennas. As for SDRs, software defined receivers, at home, I of course tried the RTL SDR, the little dongle that costs $10. The Soft 66. I have one actually here, which I'm thinking of maybe at some point doing some kind of little raffle to send to you, some lucky winner. I've used a DX Patrol that I sent to the Fastload has, and I think it doesn't work. I think it told me that it just is gone. And that's pretty much it. And I've got the ephedrine that I'm using right now. So that's pretty much what I have used as software-defined receivers. Mastrike X-Strong. You know, if I had the money, I would have tons and tons of radios. Keegan's got Radio Vanny Cuba 12,000. Let's check it out. It was coming in earlier. Yep. Oh, pretty strong too. Look at that. Jerry's got channel 6 active. Let's check it out. 27025 and East Sporadic ESCAP. Nothing much happening right now. I don't know if there's anything there. 14194, very strong. 14194. That was the US station I think I was listening to, right? There's something here. Let's go down here.
W6KN with a group KD5AW.
So W6 station maybe in the West Coast. Coming in there. Of course that we still have that Spanish station 14223. KC Red Dragon 7098. Olivia. Let me check it out if I hear something. He's still selling it. DX Patrol. Let's check out the link. Yeah, it's wow, it's changed. DX Patrol MK4. 99 euros. 89. So he's still selling it. It's unfortunate because I had kind of liked the product of the DX Patrol, but was sad to hear anything. MDK2's got Grease on 9420 for Too Good in Denver. Keegan says Carnival Characters on the Late Show with James Gordon. Oh, really? Didn't know that. I don't watch the late shows much on the US networks. Zachary Anto says that beer was a weird color. Well, it could have been a flavored beer of some sort. I've, seen. We've seen some. I've had some like blueberry beer and stuff like that has different colors. But this is vodka, cranberry juice, and 7-Up. Jay says Lotomax at 50 million. Cross your fingers. Hey, I hope you're gonna buy me an ICOM ICR 8600 at 50 million. I don't buy lottery tickets. Gander Vomit on 6604. Let's check it out. Gander 6604. Yep.
Free knock. Visibility more than 6 miles. Fuel clouds past 2,000.
And if you guys listen in, 6604 is the Gander Vomit, the Gander weather station off of Gander, Newfoundland. But just above it, on 6607 CW or 6606 upper sideband, there's a Morse code signal. That's the Israel Maritime Station. What is it? 4 X-ray Zulu, 4XZ. And I can hear it slightly when I'm listening to the Gander Vomit. Dark Vegan, Chuck, Drunk Shortwave Show. Man. Bill Ross, when I sing my wife says I should be on the stage, then she says there is one leaving in 5 minutes. Oh, man. Spectrometer shows 99% vodka. 4 fingers of vodka, 1 finger of juice. Oh, man. Yeah, there must be that time when there were some real operators. Can you imagine having that job, like Sid Vic says? Vomit are computer driven now, but imagine, like 40 years ago when you actually had somebody have to go up at the mic and read the weather bulletin of some sort. That must have been interesting. Oh, man. Keegan's a root beer, man. I like the A&W one. It's pretty good. Danny Shortwave's got 9420, S9 plus 20. Let's check it out. Grease, 9420. Yep. With some Greek music. About S9 here. S9 here. Dark Noise says, and I have USB to micro USB UTG cable so I can hook up the dongle plus up converter to my phone so I can use it on the go. Well, that's cool. That's cool. I have that also, and I use it also on on my 10-inch tablet that I've purchased recently. So it's really, really nice for that. So Keegan's got nothing on 27025. What else do we have? Hey, my friend from Greece, any thoughts about the AOR LA400 loop antenna? I've never used it personally, but I've seen some reports saying that it's a pretty good antenna. So I don't know if anybody has something to add to this, the AOR LA400 loop antenna. Len Nepal says, official, I'm amazed I can get signals from USA, especially from WWCR. The Overcomer Ministry, even USA is, yeah, you know, that's shortwave, Lion Nepal. This is what shortwave is all about. It's just crazy. Oh yeah, please, Jerry, if you have 50 million, send me both the 8600 and the R30, please. I would, you know, I'll be forever happy. So please. Yeah, you know, Lion Nepal, it also depends. One of the things that is very, very unique of shortwave also is the fact that a lot of stations will broadcast towards specific target areas. And that will, of course, tell you if yes or not you're listening in, or you can hear a station. There's also the frequencies they use and the time. You know, if they use a low frequency, so say for example, you've got, I don't know, say Radio France is broadcasting on a low 6 megahertz frequency, but between France and Nepal it's daytime. That frequency is not going to propagate to Nepal because it's daytime. 6 megahertz won't propagate in there. There's a lot of things that, you know, the knowledge of what frequency and the time that you actually listen in are very important, because is it daylight, is it darkness, that will change the characteristics of the signals and if you hear it or not, you know. But yeah, Brother Stare is everywhere, I can tell you that. Even broadcasts from other places around the other places in the world, like Bulgaria. Richard Cook's got a very poor buzzer on 4625, and talking of the buzzer, I heard it 3 days ago. It was very weak, but I could hear the buzz on my SDR. I heard it 3 days ago. It was the first time that I heard the buzzer in something like 6 months, I would say. Penny Shortwave Radio DX6604 upper sideband S9. Oh, really, Sidvic? That's what you did at Gander Radio? Wow. Along with HF Communications. That must have been a very, very cool job, honestly. That would have been the kind of job I would have liked to do. I remember when in the 80s there was the one of the jobs of the Sackville transmitter side was also to do some active shortwave monitoring. Man, that would have been such a cool job to have. I mean, imagine working and you monitor shortwave broadcasts. That's your job. That would have been amazing. I remember thinking of that and saying, oh man, that you know, it's like one of those really, really unique jobs, you know. What else do we have? Rob Webster, what is the longest length of wire you can use for shortwave radio? And does it have to be balanced for a SDR receiver? You know, a receiver is not like a transmitter. It doesn't require the same precision, I would say, as a transmitting antenna. But, you know, generally speaking, because we technically, you know, I don't think none of us here have, you know, like thousands of acres of land. what I will usually say when somebody says, well, you know, how long can you put your long wire out? You know, what's the longest length? Just put the longest you can actually put out, and that's generally what I will say to anybody. Just put it as long as you can. The longer it is, the better it will be. But of course, it can be cut to specific lengths for specific frequencies that you want to listen to. And you know, a receiver, technically, if you have a wire antenna, maybe a grounding, that's pretty much what you'll have. And you know, the fact that it's balanced or not, well, you know, of course, is somewhat important, but not that important, because even if there's a mismatch, say you have a mismatch between the impedance of the antenna and the connector. On shortwave frequencies, that loss is very low. It's much more important if you were on a very high frequency. Say you're listening at 1 gigahertz in the UHF range. Now there, you're going to have a lot of loss with all the mismatch that you might have. On the shortwave frequencies, the loss is very low, honestly. Nicholas Fahire, nice to have you here. Emergency action message at 4724. Let's check it out here. I haven't listened to that. So 4724 is one of them, but there's also 8992. There's also, whoops, I got a wrong one here. 11175. There's also, so 4724, 8992, 11175, 13200, 15016. Yeah, there's something happening. It's very weak on 11175, 8992, I believe. I don't think 4724. Let's try 13200. I did hear some communications. It was very weak. So these are frequency for the U.S. Air Force and the EAMs, or emergency action messages. Max S. Strong says, I was very disappointed with my AOR LA400. Oh, really? But it's intermittent, Nicholas, so it doesn't matter, Nicholas. It will come in and out. It's, you know, it's the nature of EAMs. So very disappointed in your AOR LA400. Huh, okay. Honestly, didn't spend a lot of time on it. Okay, kind of interesting. Okay. Channel 6 at S7 here. I'm going to go and monitor again if I hear anything. Right now, there's nothing much here on channel 6. Okay, Matt Sextron recently purchased the LA400 remote cable. Not sure if that will help. Okay. BPM, the Chinese time station on 5000. Coming in better, says Richard Cook. Secondary answer. So if there's a buzzer, is there also tweeter and beeper and a clanch? And there's probably all sorts of things out there. There are probably even things that we don't even know exist in there. I was reading, by the way, this week about a few unusual transmissions that people have been receiving with number stations that are not listed in any listing. It's very weak here on 7425. I can't really make it out, Danny Shortwave. 7425. That should be technically, yeah, it's possible that it's Iran. Actually, if we look at what's transmitting now, the only thing that's actually on the list here is Iran. So it's possibly, if you can make it out as Arabic language, Danny, then you're receiving Iran. Just need to check it out. Hey, Vivian McDowell, nice to have you on board, Vivian. And I am very well, thank you. Keegan's got 9350 WWCR real strong. Matambali's got the HM01 Cuba numbers on 10715. Really strong. Pretty cool. That means they're probably transmitting towards the west coast. Towards the west coast. There you go. Vancouver Island DXer says simplest practical antenna philosophy. More wire, higher. Et voila. So, Voice of Islamic Republic of Iran. I heard them in French a couple of times in the past 2 weeks on 9810. I think it's 9810 in the afternoon. Pretty amazing. Well, you know what? JD Williamson says my setup isn't grounded and it does pretty well. It might be better with grounding. You know, it all depends, honestly, because I have my my setup grounded, but if I unground it or change something, I don't see a difference. I think it really depends on the quality of the ground that you have. It depends also on so many other things. So it depends. Sometimes it does, sometimes it's not. There can never be enough cowbell. 11840 Radio Havana, Cuba. Let's check it out. Yep. Not very strong, but it's there. Vianney Arsenault, fais attention à toi. À la prochaine. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. 11780 should be Brazil. Yeah. 11780 is Radio Nacional Amazonas in Brazil, Keegan. Thanks, Nicholas. And 73, Nick, N9SJA. Cosmic Lettuce. Take care, my friend. Peace, love, absolutely. I'll try to make it to your astronomy stream tonight, like I did yesterday. It was kind of cool yesterday. Did I just move the camera with my feet? But it's still okay. So if I can, it's nice to have everybody here. Good night, Bill Ross. Nice to have you here. Dennis Bristow. Nice to have you here from Yorkshire, UK. Any information on long wire antenna for Sony ICF 2010? Well, like we just did, you know, the longer the better. What really makes a difference is if you can actually take a wire antenna from outside and have it come in through a shielded cable of some sort, so that it removes all the interference, that will be probably the best thing that you can do, you'll just have great reception as long as there's not too much noise around you, Dennis. If it's Arabic, yes. So Danny Shortwave, you're getting Iran for sure. It's like Oriental. I bet number stations were invented by government employees who were bored and get off on trolling people. JD Williamson says 3-second delay. Wow. Yeah, it's like pretty amazing the delay that we have today. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Keegan has WWV in 5000. Yeah, I like fish. I like fish. Yeah, absolutely. I don't eat it too often, but you know, I do like fish. I like salmon a lot. But in general, you know. Danny Shortwave says 11780 is S9 plus 10. Actually, I was listening to Glenn Houser's World of Radio. He was mentioning how there was a big distortion of the transmitter of Radio Nacional Amazonas, and it was creating a huge spur. So they were like 30 or 50 kilohertz off or something, and they were like really having some distorted spur. Keegan says 6900 garbled transmission. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. So this is Brazil. In Portuguese.
Gosta muito, já que tá meio doentinha, mandou uma mensagem pra mim, com a voz rouquinha, né? Maurício, tô bem não, olhe por mim, eu gosto tanto de você, reze por mim, né? Minha amiga Raimunda Belém, em Lajeado, no Tocantins, um grande beijo, um abraço, tenha fé, Deus vai conceder a saúde pra você, viu? Um abraço, minha querida amiga, um abraço para sua família inteira, o Abraão Belém está em 2 irmãos, a dona Luzia também, e tenha fé, seu mulher de fé, né? Cadê aquela alegria que eu sempre tive no telefone de você falando comigo? Maurício, tem uns meninos atentados aqui, de vez em quando sai correndo, arruma na gente, derruba a gente, machuca a gente, cadê você? Quero ver a sua força, a sua alegria, quero ver você com a voz sua. Tome muita água, viu? A água é muito
This
boa.
is
Tome muita água.
Radio Nacional, Amazonas of Brazil. Yep, as Vancouver Island DXer is saying, national language of Iran is Farsi, but they often use Arabic for their listeners in other countries of the region. Absolutely. Cool, Gianni. Take care. Fais attention à toi. David in Barcelona says the conductivity of the local ground can vary a lot depending on location. Absolutely. Type of ground, type of climate, how long is your feed line, you know, the wire to your ground, stuff like that change a lot what it is. So like he says, there are some locations where ground will probably not change much. Absolutely. So so what else do we have? What else do we have? What else do we have? 4 seconds delay, says Keegan. Yeah, that is the best. MDK2 says the best way to tell delay is to tune to the same thing and listen to it. Yeah, this one is actually I've not taken the time to set it up today, so it's probably not okay by quite a few seconds. Zachary Antle, by the way, what do Canadians think of peanut butter? I know a lot of Europeans who hate it but love it. But I love it. I love peanut butter. I'm a big fan of peanut butter, but natural peanut butter, not the one like Kraft with all the sugar they add and stuff like that. I like the real peanut butter made with just peanuts. I actually used to make my own peanut butter. I would buy a bag of peanuts and just, you know, do it myself. But, you know, Vancouver Island DXer. Antennas are like people. They benefit from fresh outdoor air rather than stuffy indoor air. Yep, pretty much, pretty much. Keegan's got WWV on 15 megahertz, moderate reception, fading at times. So that's interesting. You know, I'm pretty sure there are some number stations that are there just to mess up the mind of everybody. I'm pretty sure that when there were a lot of them on the air, there were probably some fake number stations to try to have, you know, the governments and whatever just lose their time decoding garbage. I'm pretty sure it's it's something that was used as a way of doing things, honestly. So, you know, that of course happened for sure. I'm pretty sure. Danny Shortwave says 11780 Brazil booming in very strong. Oh, MDK2 says there's one station on the premium list as having fake messages, but I can't remember which one and how they determine it was fake. Yeah, that's the other thing. How do you know if it's fake or not, you know? Bill. K3WDR says hello there, and says active on 7134.5, lots of contacts. 7134.5. Let's check that out. Let's check that out. 734.5 we hear something. Max S. Strong says all Canadians love peanut butter. It's in their nature. Oh man, I do love maple syrup. I always have maple syrup here. I actually, instead of putting sugar in my coffee, I put a little bit of maple syrup in it. Have the leaves started changing color yet? Very slightly. It's still a little early for that. But I was actually coming in from my walk before the show, and I did notice that one of the maple trees across the street, some of the leaves are starting just slightly to have a little yellow reddish color on them, but it's still not much because it's still a little early. It's at least a good 3 weeks before it's really going to be starting to show off. The colors, the changing colors will really be there, like first half of October. That's going to be the time. But it's starting. I was actually taking a walk today, and I was noticing the angle of the sun. Everything looks different. You see that it's not summer anymore. And even though the weather's nice, even though the weather's great, you see that it's not summer anymore. I can tell you that. Is peanut butter in Canada sold as peanut butter on its own or as peanut butter and jelly, but still called peanut butter? Here we have just peanut butter. Here what we have is a pot of peanut butter, a brown pot of peanut butter, and that's it. It's its own thing. And there's the Kraft thing, and with sugar in it. I sometimes buy the Kraft brand, but the one with no sugar, it's real it says all natural on it. No sugar added, nothing. It's just peanuts. That's the one I like. But here it's just peanut butter. Sid Vic says 7134.5 from Vermont at 30/9. Probably skips over me. Matt Mbali says, thanks for the note on international date numbering. You know what? We're all, every time I go to the EIBI Space website and check out the list, and it lists these days as 1, 3, 5, 7. I think we all ask ourselves at some point, when is day 1? When is day 1? So for most lists, day 1 is Monday. So if you remember, 1 is Monday, and you see 1, 3, 5, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I was like you, Matambali. I always thought day 1 was Sunday for some reason. Danny Shortwave 5550 Upper Sideman, which is of course the aeronautical band. Oh, what's that here? 5371.5, some hams in the 60-meter band. Look at that.
Roger, and see if there are any football games or anything on tonight. So that's about it for me. I don't have much more to add to the group here, so I will say 7-3 and listen out here. So great to hear everybody tonight, and look forward to doing it again tomorrow. K3SDK, I believe it's KA3SDK. This is W1CBN. Go ahead, Chris.
K3SDK. All right, real good. Well, it looks like it just started raining here, and my dog's coming downstairs. So that means if dogs comes downstairs that doesn't need the radio, that means that there's some lightning in the background somewhere, not in here. They always come downstairs where I'm at in the radio room when they the lightning hit. So I'm going to go ahead inside and start unplugging stuff. I'll pass Steve, Dave, N1SAG, pick it up, Gage, rest again.
Yeah, okay, yeah. The dogs are all smarter enough.
So 5371.5 to 60 meter band. I don't hear voice a lot on these frequencies. I've noticed that most amateur operators seem to use digital modes or you know, stuff like that. I hear less and less voice on the 60 meter band frequencies. Keegan, I do that all the time. Maple syrup on vanilla ice cream is actually a really, really good dessert. You know, I don't have ice cream very often here, but when I do, it's one of the things that you know, sometimes I feel like a little sweet. Maple syrup on vanilla ice cream is great. No, it's not Zachary Antle, because maple syrup doesn't taste the same. It actually tastes like maple syrup. It's not the same thing. It is still sugar, but with a different taste. William Helms, I had it, you know how? Honey peanut butter. I was at the grocery store once, and I picked up the pot of what I thought was all natural, because it was all natural. And I didn't look, because the pot is like almost the same color. I took it, put it in my basket, came back home, looked at it and said, what the hell? Honey peanut butter? What's that? And I thought, oh man, but it's actually surprising. I gotta say, I was very, very surprised. And it actually was not bad. Mike Smith, nice to have you here. Richard Cook's got very weak Radio Vancouver on 5040. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Casey Red Dragon, link on 5407-5407. Got nothing there. I do hear the UK Royal Air Force Valmet station on 5450. .5450 is the UK Valmet. Yeah, 5550 is the New York aeronautical frequency. I hear a lot of comms from there. 5550 from New York. 5616 out of Gander, I believe. Pretty cool. Mad Reader DXer says, wow, never heard North American hams on 60 meter band. This is the first for me. Oh, really? Wow, cool. Cool. Southern Illinois, Sam, nice to have you here. Have you heard anything on Brother Stair? I knew he was confined to the farm with a tracker and supposed to go to trial. I've not heard anything since. I hope he goes to trial. Southern Illinois, Sam, the latest kind of news that I've got is, yes, he's confined to his farm or whatever. He's more than ever on the shortwave bands, so obviously he's got money to spend there. And he is going to trial, that I know it is. It's just, you know, there's all sorts of delays in the in you know, these legal stuff. So I think that's what's happening, is all the delays going through the trial and everything. I won't say more than that, because I got ranted so much on the channel here, because obviously there are some people that like the guy. And so I'll just say that I personally think, yeah, he should go to trial and should go to jail, but I'll stay at that point, because of a lot of trolling and a lot of you know, I've got I haven't said much, but I had monetization taken off of a few YouTube channels for a day, a couple of days, because of some of my own opinion. And so I'm now a little reluctant in talking about whatever, because I mean, it's my income, and when the income doesn't come in, it's sad. And all I gotta say is I find it sad that I can't voice my opinion on something without somebody going nuts over it. So that's pretty much what I have to say. C. Johnson. Nice to have you here. This sounds like a strong signal. What else do we have? Zachary Anto. Canadian Prime Minister having to know French reminds me of how every school child in Finland has to learn Swedish. You know, I won't talk about that. Hey, Chromite. Nice to have you here. Yeah, there are some static crashes, absolutely. Richard Cook is not getting 5450. Probably skipping over you. Possibly. Imagine they're really strong. Brett Wayne says that 60 meters is 100 watt CRP. I mean, that means they're not super strong, actually. And they were really good. William Helms says that's how I ran across the stuff accidentally. Yeah, the same here. I took the wrong pot. Sid Vic says yes, 5616 is Gander, but also shared with Shannon in New York. Yeah, I mostly hear Gander on 5616. Zachary, Brother Stare, has to go to trial. Hey, Jay Waterston 69, nice to have you on board. Jay Waterston says was probably that park police brought reporting you. Yeah, the bitch cop. 11950. Strong music. Got nothing here. Wow, I hear. Look at that. $11,930. I hear the S9, and more than S9. I hear $11,930. I hear the jamming from Cuba, actually. That usually jams, tries to jam Radio Marti. That's pretty much what I have. What's on 11700?
Abrimos InfoPlus con las noticias más importantes del día, seguidas por un comentario de actualidad. En el apartado todo.
Is it on right now, Richard? M08 from Cuba. Yeah, it is a jammer, Keegan. 11930 is the jammer from Cuba that's trying to. It tries to jam Radio Marti. 8136. Isn't that one in Morse code? M08A? I think it is. $5405 link. I didn't hear much. Shannon Vomit out of Ireland on 5505. Upper sideband. Propagation seems to be quite good tonight, honestly. Mad Reader the Xer says, all I receive on a 60 meter BAM is from ham users that are mostly British and maybe German comms. But despite the low power of 60 meter hams in North America, I never knew they used that range. Yeah, they have, I believe they have 5 channels in North America. Southern Illinois saying, why is Radio Marti always jammed? It's jammed on all of its frequencies by Cuba because Radio Marti is a station that is directed to Cuba. It's kind of one of those propaganda stations, if we say. And they, of course, direct their programming at Cuba. at the Cuban community. And of course, Cuba doesn't want that and doesn't want those transmissions going through. So all the Radio Marti frequencies usually are jammed. Now, most of the time here, I hear Radio Marti. Most of the time, I rarely hear anything else. But like now, it was the jamming, and it's sometimes happened that the it sometimes happens that the jammer is stronger, but it doesn't happen very often up here in Montreal. Tuxter3, nice to have you here. I think I saw you earlier, and I think I forgot to say hi. I'm not sure. So yeah, okay, thanks, Brett Wayne. Yeah, I thought it was 5, and they're at 100 watts each. But I rarely hear a voice on these frequencies. The 5 channels, I usually hear digital modes. Digital modes seem to be really, really popular on those frequencies. Artie, Gideon, nice to have you here. See you tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Thanks for the. I'll show it one last time for anybody that wants to do a little donation and help me out in continuing with what I do and all the efforts I put into the live shows. You can send your donations at paypal.me/shortwave, paypal.me, not .com, .me/shortwave, and you can also send to the Yahoo email you see here. Look, you can try Patreon, but Patreon's making me mad lately because they've pretty much frozen the money of my that I've received this month, and it's the second time, and I'm getting really annoyed because they say there's illegal activity and stuff like that. It's all crap. So, anyways, thanks for everybody who donated, and hey, if you can spare a little change, any amount helps. Thanks if you like what I do. Okay. 11.5. Let's try 11.950 again. But oh yeah, look at that. Yep. Whoops. 11.950. That is in Spanish, and that's Radio Havana, Cuba. And it is actually written here, Radio Havana, Cuba, Monday to Thursdays. It says Monday to Thursdays, but 2400 hours UTC, Radio Havana, Cuba, Spanish. And it sounds like Cuba. It's distorted like Cuba is often distorted. So that's Radio Havana, Cuba on 11.950. That's what you guys are hearing. Keegan says, I read about a TV station on NTSC Analog TV Channel 3 from Florida being jammed in Cuba. TV Marti station. Yeah, they're there for that. TV Marti, Radio Marti, all of that is broadcasting towards Cuba. And of course Cuba jams them, you know. That's pretty much what's happening. He's using DX Cluster Real Ham Radio. You know, there's all of these people that will tell you what's ham radio, not real ham radio. Some will tell you SDR is not real shortwave radio, you know. That is weird. Jay Watterson 69, I don't know what to say. He says, what are your thoughts on directed energy weapons being used against diplomats in Cuba? I've heard about it because, you know, it seems that it's not just U.S. diplomats. I've kind of heard that even Canadian personnel there I don't know what to think, honestly. I really, really don't know what to think. I'm kind of an external observer here and just don't really know what to think about all that. Keegan says just started raining. What else do we have here? Yeah, William, you know, he calls himself Brother Stare, but he's just a fraud, honestly. You know, if it uses radio waves and it transmits or receives radio waves, it's a radio, pretty much. KC Red Dragon says 7210 strong. Yep. That's China Radio International in Spanish. China Radio International in Spanish from Albania transmitter site. Moderate, that's 6,000. Let's check it out. Yeah, Cuba, pretty good. Yeah. There is audio, but it's not very strong. The audio, Richard, is not very strong from CRI. This is typical. This is a CRI frequency off of Cuba. And I've noticed that almost all China Radio International frequencies that come out of Cuba has a much lower audio than the ones coming out of the Albania transmitter side. KC Red Dragon says 9350 string music. Huh. Yeah, well, apparently it's under construction, and I actually see now Southern Illinois Sand has any news about WBCQ transmitter and flat earthers. They've actually posted on their webpage pictures of the new transmitter and antenna. So I guess it's coming. And if you want to have the inside scoop of what a lot of the discussions we've been having about it, we pretty much all think that it's some kind of covered U.S. government thing, sending money to a station like WBCQ to keep shortwave alive in case something ever happens. And it's possible. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not there. And so, you know, WBCQ is in a very, very unique spot in its transmitting and where it's located. And it's not far from where there was huge operations at one point. For those that don't know, WBCQ is very close to a antenna farm that used to exist with tons of transmitters that the U.S. government were actually using. And so what we think is that it's being kind of pushed under some other banner, some other idea, but it's some kind of undercover U.S. financing to maintain shortwave stations. You know, it's like WRMI. Think about it, guys, for a second. WRMI does not have the financial means to pay for Okeechobee transmitter site. That thing is one of the biggest transmitter sites in the world. Imagine, the BBC closes down these huge transmitter sites because they don't have money for it. How can WRMI pay for that? It's impossible. There's some money coming from the government. People are not talking about it. And it maintains a shortwave presence from the United States on the air. And if something happens, they have all these transmitters available to do whatever they want to do with. That's pretty much what we all think. Like, I use some DX clusters for DX purposes and knowing where stations are and what stations are on the air. I think it's a tool. It's a tool, you know? But tuning around is also great. I mean, it's great. But sometimes, when I just want to like try to DX rare stations, I will use DX clusters because I want to see what's on the air. And sometimes it made me listen to stations that I didn't even know were there. I think it's a tool. It's part of the listening hobby. Like software-defined radio, it's part of the hobby. That's it. That's it. Weird signal on 10221. Not hearing anything here. Yeah, Brother Molester, absolutely. Like Brett Wayne says, radio is radio unless. Radio is radio unless. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, like MDK2 on the Facebook page. Yeah, that's where they posted the pictures. Bill Ross says, Jose Marti was a Cuban national hero in the 19th century. Both pro and anti-Castro supporters claim Marti as a hero. So thanks for that. I didn't know. That's something I did not know. I had no idea. So now you explained to me why it's called Radio Marti. Thanks for the info, Bill. So it's always nice to see to understand the background or the why of something. But Fred is there. So it's interesting. And DK2 says it's funny how people get. I had someone in our group who wasn't sure if something was on. When I suggested checking with a Kiwi SDR, he thought that was cheating somehow. What is it? It's honestly, you know what? I often will go use one of the Kiwi SDRs in a different area of the world to listen in on a station I just can't hear. There's no cheating about that. That's just bull. I mean, come on. A radio's a radio. And the difference is you're listening to that radio over the internet. And I actually find it extremely cool that we have Kiwi SDRs. I find it extremely cool that I can tune a radio in Europe to see if a station is really broadcasting. It's actually the coolest thing in the world. And you're still listening to a radio down there. I mean, whatever. Paul and Mary Lou, nice to have you here. Says the lower audio level also applied to Radio Van in Cuba on 6000 as well. Yeah, it happens. It happens very often. Absolutely. Absolutely. And welcome aboard. J.D. Williamson says the discussion of DX cluster being a radio is quite soon over. Since the 80s, we've used computer chips. There's a lot of thing. Danny Shortwave 7210 is 9 plus 10 CR in Spanish. Yeah, it's like fishing, absolutely. When you tune the dial. Yeah, MDK2, like you say, WBCQ is close to the ocean, and the US, Canada border. Everything's possible. Jim Howard, nice to have you on board, like Radio Swan or maybe even WRUL. Yeah. Gotta keep shortwave going. Absolutely, Brett. You gotta. MDK2 says WMI is supposed to. Whoops, I lost it. Let me just go back here. Supposed to be supported by a large cattle range, I believe. But that's an interesting theory, Joe. Well, MDK2, the reason I said that is because there is somebody that I was talking to that is well known in the field of radio broadcasting and been known for a long time, that actually knows the people behind WRMI, and they have no money to pay for that. And apparently it's the fact that they don't have the money to pay for that. And that it is it is money from the U.S. government going there to keep it up, keep it working. Maybe we'll never know. But you know what? Thinking about it, when we think about it, honestly, it's kind of logic, Where is that money coming from? Come on. Let's face it. Let's think of WBCQ. Seriously? Flat earthers have money to pay for a 500 kilowatt transmitter and antenna that will be broadcasting 24 hours a day? Seriously? I'm not sure about that. And if you think about how much money they ask for a 1 hour or 30 minutes of transmission, WBCQ, WRMI, come on, at those prices, it barely covers the transmitting time and the transmitting power and the electricity and everything. It has no sense unless you think there's some financing coming from somewhere else. Because, I mean, these people don't have money. Alan Wiener doesn't have any money. I mean, he's like, come on. You're not running that operation with those $30 or $40 per hour rates of broadcasting on shortwave. Impossible. Tim Robinson. Hey, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. We've been on for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Incredible, eh? It's a nice, you know what? After about an hour and a half today, I was thinking, wow, I'm not sure it's going to go on very long. And finally, we're at 20 hours and 20, Tuxer 3, I'm a young ham. What did people do before DX clusters? Two things. We would just tune the radio. Or there were some bulletins that would come out and say, hey, in 3 months, it's we're going to have this DX station from this island and so on. Chromite says continuity of government includes shortwave capability. Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I would think that a lot of the countries that even if they have reduced or removed shortwave, look at some of the transmitting sites. Bulgaria, it's not used much. But it's interesting to note that it's not been dismantled. It's there. Austria, look at the big Austria transmitter site. Used barely by Radio Austria in the, I think it's in the German language or something like that. And a little bit of stations are renting on it. What's the, why are you keeping these transmitters alive and keeping them ready to broadcast? I think many countries around the world understand one thing. If all hell breaks loose, we'll need to reactivate those shortwave transmitters because that's the way we're going to talk to people. And I think it is something to think about. Sid Vic says, info from QST and CQ that they are operating and get call from another ham. Yeah, things like that. Ah, man. I got an email, so I turned on my radio. Oh, man. What else do we have? MDK2 says, I agree, Jill. I don't think this guy is actually a SDR isn't a real radio lit, but he's old school enough that he won't see what's out there. He's just not receiving for himself. I get that all the time, and I look at the Facebook groups honestly, and sometimes I will just like I don't know, sigh. It's like, oh, come on, you're really asking that, or you're really saying that. Please, it's just crazy. Bill Ross, better spend some time with your wife. Absolutely. So take care. You'll be, you can't spend time watching a guy from Canada talking about radio. You'll finish old and alone. Crazy screaming preacher on 7780, says Richard Cook. So, it's crazy. David says, I use remote receivers, WebSDR, QSDR, to listen to signals I can't receive. There's a lot of them. And check out the conditions of the bands. Yeah. Et voila. It's just crazy. William Helm says the man lacks respect, so he's called brother. Yeah, you know, I'll call myself brother with Shortwave or something. Brother Gilles. I'll be, brother Gilles. That'll be something. Mad Reader DX who says, I enjoy using keyway SDRs. I am grateful for those who make them available over the internet, as it's their own electricity connection. That's true. That's something we don't think about, but I mean, come on. You know, if for example, I put my ICOM on the air on Global Tuners, I'm not asking for money or anything. I'm just leaving it there because I want to have people around the world tuning it in. But I'm paying for the electricity. I'm paying for the internet connection. Exactly like Mad Radio DXer says. Let's be grateful that these are on. Because, I mean, how many people would actually use resource and a PC and everything just to have something like that on the air for others to use? I mean, you know. Take care, Texter 3. Have a good dinner. Brett Wayne says, Area 51 radio. Cool. Yeah. Max says, wrong. The hurt is hollow. You know. K2 says, WBCQ has everything bound by spit and baling wire. Or they did before the flat earthers started building a transmitter. Yeah. You know. That's crazy. Just crazy. Yeah, MDK2 AWR does use, but you know, it's very little used. I mean, it's being kept up. Jim Howard, Sackville has been dismantled, and the reason behind that is very interesting. The reason why Sackville was dismantled is because the CBC wanted to make sure that Radio Canada cannot live again. So the only way they could do that is to dismantle it as fast as they can. It was really a decision of people that hated Radio Canada, honestly. Difference between shortwave and longwave is mostly, well, first of all, is in the length of the radio wave. So it means like shortwave is between 3 and 30 megahertz. Long wave is between something like, I'm trying to remember, something like, 100 kilohertz to 1 megahertz or something like that. I'm trying to remember, I don't remember, so don't take that into account. But it's very low frequencies. They don't propagate in the same way. So shortwave bounces off the ionosphere. Long wave is, for the most part, pretty much a ground wave thing, but that the long waves have this weird capability of being able to be ground wave and actually following the curvature of the Earth, even though they're ground waves. And they actually require very big antennas compared to shortwave that do require big antennas, but they are smaller yet than long waves. So a few little things like that. Southern Illinois San Joe, seems like all the greats on shortwave are old and dying off. Gene Scott, Chris Dare, Pastor Peters. Who will fill the airwaves? Alec Jones, come back. There will be other things. You know what? They're keeping them alive, and there will be other things keeping it alive. There's always something that's going to be. And Alex Jones is still, by the way, on shortwave. He's not been cut off shortwave. He's still on shortwave. Pirate reported 69:24 a.m. Check it out. Nothing much here. Wow, got this weird thing there. Doesn't seem to have a lot in pirate activity, but I will listen in for sure tonight. Ah, man. Michael Walker, ready for DRM. Yeah, DRM is that thing that, you know, it's not that I don't like technology, but DRM, honestly, is, you know, they've been selling these things. The K2 says, whoops. We'll be interested in DRM when the sunspots return, but anytime I try to copy one now, including WINB, it's a bad experience. No lock because the signal has to be S8 at bare minimum to lock. Same here. I get all the data, I get the station information. I never get a decode of the audio. It stops when you look at the little green lights, the last one never lights up. It never, and it's because my signal to noise ratio is too high. And I've tried it so many times. I had one decode once, very small decode. It was not very long, and it was from radio, the Voice of Nigeria, because they use a very low bit rate, so it kind of works a little better when there's noise. But man. Jay Orderson, what do you think is the most likely shift event? I think grid going down is a real possibility. EMP, Carrington event, sabotage, cyber attack, lots of possibilities. There's a lot of stuff in there that can go wrong. I can tell you one thing. I do tech news on my tech channel every day, and I read tech news about things that are happening that are actually making me go totally nuts. One of the things that I've seen many times is that there's a lot of infiltration within the power grid through the internet by hackers, and from different countries. Not just there's Russia, but there's other countries in there. And you know what? That's scary, because that means what the hell? What, they're going to do what they want? There's a lot of things that's going to happen. You know, there's a lot of possibilities of things. Personally, I think cyber attack is probably, from my point of view, the number one thing that's going to happen. I'm not that scared of a EMP, electromagnetic pulse, or things like that. A Carrington event, it's not impossible. It could happen, but it's a rare event. It's not something that happens every 10 years or 50 years. It's something that happens every 200 years, 300 years, and more. Cyber attack is the number one thing probably that could hamper our today. I think that's what is the number one thing we got to be scared of, more than a lot of other possibilities, honestly. What else is there here? Yeah, same here. Like David says, DRM, the only DRM I decoded, Voice of Nigeria. Same here. Okay, 300 kilohertz. And 300 kilohertz to 3 megahertz is medium wave. Thanks, Richard. So long wave is up to 300 kilohertz. And 300 kilohertz to 3 megahertz is called medium wave. Yeah. Nothing on shortwave. I see reported East Coast Pirate listeners would never by anyone beyond the Mississippi. Huh, interesting. MDK2. From what I know, railroads only use VHF frequencies. I've never seen any trains, anything from railroads ever using shortwave. MDK2 says, got a few minutes of WNB's DRM signal. He used low bit rate. Okay. Tim Robinson, Joe and your followers, there was a flying visit. Been busy and got a lot of crap tomorrow. Yeah. And by the way, before I'm soon to leave, but in 28 minutes time, at 8 p.m. Eastern, 0000 UT, there will be a live Paul McCartney concert on YouTube. So if you guys want to watch that, it's coming up in 28 minutes from now, honestly. Take care, Tim. Always nice to have you on board. It's dark outside here too now. Sun is setting earlier now. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting. And so we're getting back, you know. We're getting in. Yeah, EMP attack would be the worst. I know, Jerry, but the means to do an EMP attack is so much more complex than just having a cyber attack, which is very simple if you know what you're doing. So a cyber attack is the number one thing that's going to happen, I can tell you. Way beyond anything else. Crooked Ninja has a lot of static. Yeah, remember everyone, Mighty KBC at 0 hours UT tomorrow night, Eastern Time, North America, or 0 UTC Sunday, is 5960 kilohertz this weekend. So, hey everybody, just want to say thanks for being here. I am leaving, 3 hours 34 minutes, pretty good. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC, we have another show, so I hope you can be here. And now I'm going to go cook those tuna hamburgers. Hope you enjoyed the show, guys. Thanks for those that have donated during the show. Hope you enjoy what I do. And if you do, please think about it. Thanks everybody for being great fans. I mean, without you guys, there would be no shows. And, I mean, you know, I would be talking to myself, which would be... I was about to say boring, but no, maybe talking to myself is interesting, actually. So take care, everybody. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC will be no problem, JD Williamson. We'll see you next Friday for the next time. So next show, for those that won't be here tomorrow, is, of course, next Friday, 2000 hours UTC, Friday the 14th of September. Take care. Always fun to have all of you here. It's always cool to be here, and it's always cool for you guys to see the same names and same people, and new names also coming on the. Yes, I will, Jay Watterson. Start making plans for the Halloween show. And take care, all. Love you all. Stay safe, please. And hey, we're gonna fade away. Bye, my friends.